Welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. How's everybody doing tonight? Do me a big favor, hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, even though you missed the live party, guys. That is the best part. So make sure you're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe and ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. If you'd like to support the channel, head on over to TheIndianJesus.com for your very own official merch, including our projection shirt, only at TheIndianJesus.com. Guys, we do also have a Discord server. It's like a giant group chat. 24/7, we're in there hanging out, having a good time. It's a great place to meet interesting people, and I love the people over there, if I may say so myself. And again, it is free to join. However, if you are a member of this YouTube channel, you can scroll right below the video here, hit that join button. There are a few different tiers, but it starts at just $2.99 a month. Gets you members only live streams here on YouTube, all that other good stuff. But the big thing is it opens up the full Discord server. There's more than just the free chat, including our after party voice channel, where as soon as we're done here, heading over there, and we don't got to worry about any YouTube censors or anything, and you are not stuck behind your keyboard. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. It is a good time. Definitely come and join us. And speaking of joining us, we got our co-host Morty the Overlord. And definitely do me a favor and check out our swole goal at the top of the chat. Not only does every donation get him a treat, but the swole goal for today is a whole thing, well, not a whole thing, but a thing of peanut butter that I can't get any more out of. He is very much going to enjoy. So get those super chats in. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to King Nirvana in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Very good to see you. So tonight we are going to be diving into the "Is Christianity True?" debate. As you guys know, I don't really love these very broad questions when it comes to debates, because then it can just be taken anywhere. But Alex Stein had Andrew the Crucible, as well as this guy Jeffery Daugherty, the Happy Heathen. I've not heard of him before, but some interesting conversations. And so for myself, as an atheist who does have a lot of reverence for Christian values and the way that Christianity can affect people, it puts me in a unique position to be able to see when are we arguing well, when are we saying something that is of substance, and when are those things not incongruent. It's too easy in these debates to be talking about something that's not really the topic and be winning points, but not actually getting to the question. So without further ado, as always, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
Yes, sir.
All right. Obviously, thanks for being here. And Andrew, thanks for showing up too. And you know, the debate is Christianity true? And I think really the first thing that we have to define, and we'll get to this, I'm sure, when we start talking to each other, is what do we actually mean by Christianity? Because we could be saying Christianity, that's a term that means a lot of things to a lot of people. So I hope we can actually narrow down on what Andrew would define Christianity as. So
which again is why you want to have a very specific question for your debate.
We'll kind of start from there. And then I think once we can define what Christianity is, the second question on my mind is Jesus real, and is he objectively, empirically true and able to be proven true outside of the Bible? I feel like we should be able to have empirical, extra biblical, non-Christian evidence for the relation or for the existence of Jesus, because extraordinary claims do require extraordinary evidence. And I hope that,
and that's again, as an atheist, I am absolutely willing to take the if there is proper evidence for the existence of a God or Jesus's powers or any of this stuff, I am more than open to it. It's just not there.
We can find a common source of truth. Now, again, this will go back to what is Christianity, but to me, the common source of truth I hope we could find would be the Bible script itself, the Bible record. And if we could, go to 2 Peter 1:20, kind of a thought that none of the scripture is open to any private interpretation. But a lot of people are running from that now because they don't really want to talk about the Bible, because their traditions, even though they call them Christianity, don't really line up. So
that's something that I've found very recently. And it's very frustrating that because people are moving away from specifically what's in the biblical text and just kind of, oh, well, I just believe in this kind of thing. Then when you try to nail down what anybody else believes, from my position, all I have is my own experiences as a Christian growing up, as well as other Christians that have spoken to me. And so if I'm talking about, something with Christianity in general, and you're like, well, I don't believe that, like, that's not really relevant, because what we're talking about is the influence of the entire word of Christianity on our discussions. So whether you specifically believe it, just because you're the one here representing that side, is not really of a forefront.
So I think that's a little bit of thing that's going on now, and hope that we can correct that. And things that I was a Christian for a long time. Why did I leave? Well, I found straight from the Bible itself that the God of the Bible accepted a human child sacrifice back in Genesis chapter 4. Mm-hmm. And I believe that the scripture shows that he destroyed earth in what was basically a temper tantrum, because humans were choosing the way of heathenry over him. And in Genesis 6, they made up this whole story about angels having sex with women. And that's just an attempt, or a cope, if you will, to cover up the fact that the Bible God wanted to destroy the whole world just because people were rejecting him. Whether the story is true or not, that really doesn't matter there. So this sons of God thing was made up. I found in Psalm 82 that even though the Bible says there's one God, there's really a lot of gods. I think the Jesus birth, I've talked about this on Coast to Coast AM, that it was a rape of Mary, who was maybe 10, 11, 12 years old at the most.
And there goes monetization.
The Bible tells us there's only one sign that would prove that Jesus was real, and that was the sign of Jonah, which had to be 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the earth. I believe he failed that if we just believe in the scripture. Another thing is the sword in the family. Jesus is supposed to be all about, the traditional family is supposed to be the biggest thing, but he said that I haven't come to bring peace, but a sword. I want to divide husbands from wives, fathers from sons, mothers from daughters. He also said...
So again, they're just doing opening statements where basically, this is my whole argument, and the Andrew will go, and this is my whole argument, and then they'll get into it.
That I'm the Prince of Peace, but Revelation 19 says that he's coming back with a sword to kill everybody that's not Jewish. So that's very interesting. I think if you look at the book of Acts and other places, Christianity is indistinguishable from communism in the book of Acts and in the Sermon on the Mount. I think we had some interesting things happen at Gethsemane, where Jesus was found in the company of a naked boy. I believe that Jesus is proven in the Bible over 33 times to be both a rabbi and a Pharisee. This den of vipers, this money changers thing that the Christian nationalists are all about, was really just a red versus blue thing, Protestant versus Catholic thing. And I think this whole idea of a Christian nation is a complete total myth. This nation was not founded as a Christian nation. I think that's provable. And the nationalists and the identityists are talking about taking over the 7 mountains of society. Well, those have already been conquered by the parent of Judaism. So I don't.
Again, as you can see, we're talking about a lot of stuff all at once. Shout out to Guam Tech. Welcome to the party, sir. Very good to see you. Said I hate to love his arguments. He still always sounds like a know-it-all asshole to me, but at least he's good at it. Very true, and that is a big part of what we are going to be looking at. Because again, as you guys know, I am an atheist. I don't believe that Christianity is true, and I don't think that Andrew or anybody else, but I don't think Andrew can prove that. Yet he's going to position himself as. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but yeah, he knows how to argue without arguing. We also got Zippy DSM Lee. Welcome to the party. So in my opinion, you can be Christian and agnostic. Everybody should be. Because again, agnostic just means that you don't know. And so if you're claiming that you have faith, then completely agree. So Zippy said, you can be Christian and agnostic. Since man and religion are both flawed, only God is the absolute. So the whole data set that only the church can bring you to God is flawed. Great. Alex said he doesn't come off as a whiny child man like Destiny. Alex Stein was making fun of Destiny in the beginning of this, before they, just saying hello and making jokes and stuff, and saying Andrew Wilson just demolished Destiny. And facts. He does have a nice beard. It's funny because they actually put up a poll whose beard is better. And yeah, obviously Jeff has the better beard here. All right, welcome to the party, guys. Let's dive back in here.
I don't understand what the big the big deal is unless
Hey, thank you, thank you, thank you. Of course, sharing the video is one of the biggest things that you can do to help. Even if you don't think anybody is going to click on the link, it helps out by you just telling YouTube, I want more people to see this. Thank you, thank you, thank you, sir.
they're trying to cover that up. And as you know, I go by the Christian whistleblower or the happy heathen. I think it needs to be said that heathens are not atheists. Just because we don't believe in your God doesn't mean we don't believe in God. And our gods are too big for any one book. And we
so first of all, that's going to be my first issue with Jeffrey here is that absolutely, if you can believe in something that someone else might call a god, but being an atheist literally means that you, oh, did he say? Okay, so he didn't say any god, right?
God, we're not atheists. Just because we don't believe in your God doesn't mean we don't believe in God. And our
okay, I'm mistaken there. So yes, you can be a deist and still be an atheist because theism has to do with a specific type of God that is a God that could reach into the universe, or a God that can answer prayers, that can do all that stuff. Whereas the God of Spinoza, much like Thomas Jefferson believed in, is more of like the just the cause, the first cause of everything. So I had that wrong. My bad.
atheist. Just because we don't believe in your God doesn't mean we don't believe in God. And our gods are too big for any one book. And we won't surrender to really, and this is a little bit dicey, but we will not surrender to what really at the end of the day are a bunch of necrophiliac, cannibalistic vampires. And with that, that's all I got. I'm ready to roll. I mean, you guys are big time.
So you can see he's going in with a very aggressive vibe. He's coming in hot. He's coming in hot. And knowing that not only is Andrew higher on the debate bro hierarchy, but that Alex Stein is there. And I mean, if he's not like super Christian, he's definitely not an atheist or anything like that. So I personally would have just been more humble, just more meek, be like, hey, exactly what I said at the beginning. If you can convince me of this, I am more than willing. I have nothing in my identity or anything that needs to be somebody who doesn't believe me, or excuse me, that needs to not believe in God. That has nothing to do with my personality. I'm just looking at what I see, and that's what I believe. And come correct if that's your strategy. Yep. Not a lot of room for mistakes when you're coming hot like that.
For your opening before you close it off, can you expand? Just take 2 minutes real quick and expand.
You got 2 minutes left, exactly.
Yeah, can you just take 2 minutes and expand for me very quickly in your opening about Atlantis a little bit and the origins from Atlantis, just so I have that in my head as well?
I don't really understand why you would want me to do that. It's not the point of the debate, and I'm not really prepared to talk about that.
So I would call that already poisoning the well. There's something else that you said that I don't like that has nothing to do with this. So can you say that again to make yourself look dumb?
Well, I don't know. Because I want to know how Arianism ties into Christianity exactly. That's all.
I don't think it does at all. I think they are they're antithesis. I think probably we're going to come down to a battle. I don't think it has to be a kinetic battle, because I think if all of us heathens get together, I would define Arians as white heathens, heathen being somebody that doesn't worship the Bible God. And, I'm not about white supremacy. I'm a white guy, so I want to optimize my race. But if the white heathens, the black heathens, the brown heathens, the red heathens, and the yellow
brown heathens, let's go dilly dilly to any other brown heathens. Dilly. Like I said, I feel bad for Alex in this. He never really gets to shine when he's surrounded by super serious smarty pantses. Apex is the real hero we need and deserve. Yeah, he needs to be prime time. He needs to be prime time. Zippy says Jeff can be dismissed. When you see the church and religion as flawed and fallible, when you take religion as an absolute, then yeah, Jeff's point ring much more true. And as we'll see, that is exactly how Andrew looks at this stuff. And so it may be in the way you believe or practice Christianity. Jeff is completely wrong, but exactly as Zippy is saying, once you say, I've got the right answer, now the burden of proof is on you. Shout out to Leslie McDowell in the building. Welcome. So communism was created by Nicholas Restif in 1794. Christianity was created by elite priests in Emperor Diocletian Satan's entourage 300 years after Jesus was murdered for being a terrorist against Rome. Correct. Welcome. All right, diving back in here.
But if the white heathens, the black heathens, the brown heathens, the red heathens, and
Let's
the
not
yellow
mention
heathens
those.
get together.
Leave them out of it for YouTube
Before the shower, after the shower, brown. I'm gonna be brown.
purpose. No, I'm just gonna go ahead.
And if we can get together and march against the people that want to put us under their fear and guilt, blood magic, Judeo-Christian control matrix, I don't think there'll be a fight, because outside of Andrew, all I run into is cowards. No one else will debate me. So I think they'll probably retreat. I think that might have answered your question, Andrew.
Again, going in hard.
Okay.
Did it, Andrew?
I would say that's very emblematic of, if you're a Christian watching this, this is exactly what you would expect from an atheist. Not going to win any hearts and minds there.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could tie it in.
Well, we can get into that. We can talk about that more. And Andrew, let me restart the clock. I'll put 7 minutes on the clock, and you're good to go.
Yeah, so I spent a long time. I do this with every debate opponent, researching Mr. Daugherty's claims, everything from Atlantis to Hyperborea to all of the incredible claim. We talk about people who say, well, for incredible claims, it requires incredible evidence. It's pretty amazing how light he is on the evidence for his claims. But here, let me dive into my...
Again, kind of a red herring or a straw man there. That, yeah, again, there's other stuff that he said that was wrong. Okay, that's not what we're talking about.
Opening. The story of Christianity needs to be told correctly, and in order to do this, we really have to understand its past, present, and future. Christian roots start in the cosmos themselves, in the star system of Alpha Draconis, Andromeda, and the Zeta Reticuli systems. These star systems originally held species, which were allies, when they discovered symptech and faster-than-light speeds. They formed what is referred to as the Galactic Federation of Light, named after light speed. The Alpha Draconians were the first to discover Earth, and they made a hybrid species out of primitives who were here to do work for them. The head of the Alpha Draconians was known only as the Demiurge, and this being enslaved all of the hybrids in what was called Hyboria in the nation of Atlantis. After an uprising assisted by the Andromedans, the people of Atlantis freed themselves from the Demiurge, but what had happened in reality was the Andromedans wanted to have sex with hybrid women known as humans, so they backed the humans in their rebellion. The Book of Enoch speaks of this and the offspring of these people known as the Nephilim. Now, the Andromedans, known only as fallen angels to the hybrid human race, taught to them technologies, including a lost branch of philosophy, which included symbology and the ability of sympnosis, or the idea of matriarchy above all else. The Atlanteans were split in this philosophy of symbology, with many symbologists backing the Demiurge and in a move towards egalitarianism, while the competing philosophy of patrology sought to destroy them. A war was fought, a great cataclysm happened due to the unearthing of neutrino bombs, which swallowed Atlantis and destroyed Hyperborea. The blood...
Is he going over what Jeffrey has said about Atlantis? Is that his opening to is Christianity true? Like, what? Gromtek said the Shroud of Turin stuff had been pretty interesting lately. Apparently, lots of evidence surfacing that it at least originated at the time Jesus was crucified, according to Mel Gibson on JRE, at least. I mean, that's always been in contention. But yeah, that definitely comes up. Let's see. Communism is the workers of a private company owning the property. Oh yeah, we know all about that. You know, those damn Andromedans. I don't really know what the hell he's talking about, but I'll just let him rep.
Earthing of neutrino bombs, which swallowed Atlantis and destroyed Hyperborea. The bloodlines of the Aryans, which still currently exist in Iran, the Middle East.
Yeah, as we say, communism is government enslaving the market and its people. There's no other way it can work. Same Christianity
became retained in the philosophy of symbology, while later Saxon and pagans retained patrology. The reason Christian consciousness or Christ consciousness is so rooted in the Saxon Anglo bloodlines is because it is resistant to egalitarian nature of the Demiurge, with even the Old Testament in Genesis warning about the corrupted.
Guys, if you do me a huge favor, hit that like button, please. If you're on your phone, you can just double tap the screen. It is easy, it is free, and it helps out so much.
Nature of the female hybrids, explaining women will want to not obey their husbands, but must. The symbologists retained the commandment of the Demiurge and maintained that matriarchy or egalitarianism is the way and that patrology needs to be wiped out. Christians have secretly known this for 2,000 years, which is why the Apostle Paul said women need to shut up in church, and why Peter said the same thing, that women need to submit. Jeff here is part of the sympnosis being of thought. He is a gatekeeper attempting to destroy all patrologists who bring good news of patriarchy, and he says it's subversive. Christians, since the beginning, have fought against his kind and the true demiurge, which he serves, while he claims we serve the demiurge. He does this because he mixes up his meanings and understanding of the Star Fathers who seeded this information into human DNA in our very blood. The Star Fathers still give us revelation to this day about the demiurge and those like Jeff and the rest of the symbologists who want to subvert the natural order for higher thinking and egalitarianism. I'm happy now to get in the rest of what the Star Fathers, Hyperborea, Atlantis, and the rest of the deep-rooted lore, which informs Christianity at its root. Jeff asked, what does Christianity mean? And I'm happy to get into that with him. Is Jesus
glad we're going to start talking about the debate.
Real objectively? I don't even know what he means by that. Every scholar agrees that Jesus Christ existed. God accepted human sacrifice. Nope, not true either. He destroyed earth in a temper tantrum. Also not true. Psalms 82 does not say there's lots of gods. Jesus at his birth by some rape of Mary. Totally absurd. No evidence for this whatsoever. Christianity is communism. This is a really old talking point by anti-Christians. Jesus in the company of a naked boy. So what? Means nothing. Jesus was not a Pharisee. There's no evidence he was a Pharisee. Jeff says, appeal to common sense. Appeal to common sense. He was a Pharisee. Nowhere is it says that Jesus Christ was a Pharisee. He was really mean to Pharisees. He really didn't like Pharisees very much. He says the nation wasn't founded Christian. Not true. There was tens of thousands of contributors.
Okay, well then don't double tap the screen then. But yeah, just hit if you tap it once, then the like button will come right on the bottom of the screen if you're on your phone. Thank you very much, sir.
Contributors to the Constitution of the United States. Very few at the top were deists. Okay, all the contributors were a mixture of three different Protestant sects. He says, we won't surrender. Who is we? Who won't you surrender to, Jeff? Is it the Jews, Jeff? You don't want to surrender to the Jews. Isn't that what it really is, right? So as I get...
So I'm trying to get a picture, because again, I don't know this Jeffrey dude. I've never heard of him before this. So I'm trying to get a read on him. So clearly he's not just a typical leftist atheist. He's not one of those. He seems to be very much into, like not in the same way like a Jordan Peterson is, but the story and lore of Christianity. He seems to be more about that, and not believing that it's actually a true story. That's what I'm gathering so far, but they're going to get into it.
Went through my entire story here and explained it to you, right? Front to back with the demiurge, Atlantis, all of this rooted. I would like you to disprove any of my claims because they fall right in line with your claims, right? Of your tale of the origin story. And I'm happy to refute any of the things that you have a problem with when it comes to Christianity. With that, I'll yield the rest of my time.
Well, that was good. You guys both spent 5 minutes. Now, we have a lot to discuss. And I think one of the most important ones, and I'm sure Jeff wants to get at this.
Thank you again for the likes, guys. It really does help. Thank you.
But I think Jesus, this just went viral on the Joe Rogan show, Jesus being objectively real. Now, I think I would agree with Andrew that there's obviously other religions, they say that he did exist, but that is he the son of God? Is that the argument? So you're saying, Jeff, I guess I kind of want to elaborate on that for a couple of minutes, that you think he's objectively did not exist. Andrew, what do you have to, I guess, prove, that Jesus existed? I think that's
I personally believe that we have enough evidence, anthropological evidence, is that the right word, to see that there was a person that fits the category. I have no desire to have the argument that Jesus was not a person at all. At the very worst, it was a story of combined 3 or 4 people. But I think the message is what really matters. And again, we do have a running poll, guys. Is truly believing Jesus Christ died for our sins, is that enough to be a Christian? Yes or no? Let me know what you guys think. Content said, I really wish Andrew had more enthusiasm when he talked. I think most of the reason I don't like his tone is because he's so dry. His debate style should be described as menopausal. I think it's I feel you, because that's part of his. It's not just the dryness, but yeah, he talks as if he already won, and he talks as if he's not interested in hearing you out. He's just interested in proving you wrong, which is what a debate is. But at another level, there can be more. Zimby said, God caused the floods, thus destroyed the world. Do not worship any other god or idol other than the Christian God. Bingo. Yup.
Have scholarly consensus, and Jeff does not. In fact, one of the scholars that Jeff notably references quite a bit also claims that Jesus himself, it's actually foolish to believe that the person who was Jesus Christ did not exist. I mean, that's mainstream scholars agree on this. And so there's more scholarly evidence in agreement of Jesus of Nazareth than there is for Socrates. We have more evidence for that than we do for Socrates, who has no written works at all. Where's any of Socrates' written works, Jeff? Where are they?
He didn't like writing because then he thought people would forget how to think. That's true.
Well, I'm not talking about Socrates. I'm talking about Jesus Christ. And I was a minister for 20 years full time. I'm a Bible college graduate. I have over 100,000 hours of study in the biblical text. So I take everything back to the biblical text. And my question no matter how you were trying to spin it.
So again, he already said in his opening that it's, I mean, I'm putting this in my own words, but the frustrating aspect of how people are moving back from the Bible and saying, well, the Bible is just a book. I just have my relationship with Jesus. What are we saying here? The 10 Commandments kind of say there are other gods. Half the point of Christianity was to replace and absorb the old gods. You can't argue with that. You can't argue with that.
Andrew, is simply this. If Jesus was real, we should be able to have a extra biblical, non-Christian verification of Jesus. Would you give me one specific?
Yeah, it's called the Shroud of Turin. It's a non-biblical material consideration with scientific method of any type whatsoever. The imagery, which is in the Shroud of Turin from the image of Christ, it is non-replicable by any scientific methodology to date. It was impossible for the time. You cannot prove any way scientifically that this could ever have been made in the time of which it came into mainstream discovery in France. You can't do it.
Hey, shout out to Carl's Frosted Tips, starting us off with the $1.99. Thank you so very, very much, sir. 9 more of those, and Morty gets his full peanut butter. Thank you so very, very much. Of course, every donation comes with a treat for Morty, and that makes you, sir, the new sponsor of the stream. What does Carl say? Jesus was a brown guy. Hey, you know what I mean? Except for Muhammad, he was trans. I'll drink to that. Welcome to the party. Yeah, Zippy said, yes, Jesus was a man. Next. I agree. Hey, and there we go with the Rumble rant from Zippy. Very, very, very much appreciated. Thank you so very, very much, guys. Dr. Zippy. All right, we'll dive back. And thank you again, guys. Very, very, very much appreciated.
This could ever have been made in the time of which it came into mainstream discovery in France. You can't do it. It's impossible. That is an extra biblical material piece of evidence, Jeff.
Are you trolling me right now, or are you serious?
I'm serious.
Well, I didn't know that you would go this way, but with any amount of study, you can find.
That's Andrew's tactic. I didn't know you were going to go this way. I wasn't prepared to do this. So now that we're here, that's his entire tactic.
I didn't know that you would go this way, but with any amount of study, you can find.
His name was Robert Paulson.
Reams of scholars that will testify that the Shroud of Turin could not possibly be the burial shroud of the Jesus character, because
based on what?
Based on time. The time, it's way, way too old to be the Shroud of Turin. I think the best evidence shows that shroud is actually.
Wait, real quick, Jeff, you say it's actually too. Wait, I thought the argument more was that it's not old enough. So you're saying the Shroud of Turin is too old?
No, I misspoke. If that's what I said. I'm a little nervous.
Yeah. No worries. You just said that.
So according to Jeff, the Shroud of Turin is too recent to be of Jesus.
No, you just said that, and I thought the argument is that it's much younger. You said it's older. I was like, that doesn't sound
it's
right.
much younger. And I've actually done.
Shout out to Alex Stein for good moderation there. That is what we need. Nobody's looking to win on a misspeaking, getting the facts straight.
A lot of study on that, and in my conclusion would be that the best explanation of the Shroud of Turin is that it's actually the burial shroud of Jacques de Molay. The timing's right. The dating is right. And if you look at that picture, if you look at the representation that's on that shroud, and you look at the representations we have of Jacques de Molay, man, it's like a mirror image. So,
wow.
Thank you again, Carl and Zippy. And so when you have a notion like the Shroud of Turin, where it could be this or it could be that, and there's biblical scholars on either side, then it's still up for question. It's still up for question. At least to me, that is not something that you can use. That may be evidence, but it's not strong enough to be like, oh, okay, we know for sure. Leslie said the shroud is bullshit. The whole group of people that let Jesus off the crucifix would have been arrested. Jesus rotted on the road to Jerusalem. So they say, right? So they say.
Malay, man.
Well, I guess they don't say, but they should say.
It's like a mirror image. So,
that's great. That's some great speculation, right? Just
it's not speculation.
If we look at the Atlantis,
it's not speculation to attribute it to Jesus.
Atlantis and the starships, we can also correlate something to Arianism as well, Jeff. But the thing is,
again, going back to the other stuff that you talked about, that's not relevant to this debate.
Ultimately,
well, this is your belief. It's your belief structure, Jeff.
No,
I'm sorry.
you're telling me what my belief structure is?
Yeah, I asked you to elaborate on it, and you won't because you're embarrassed by it, Jeff.
I mean, maybe I would doubt that he is if he's somebody who is like this. Maybe he wouldn't want to, but either way, that is not a win for you. Is Christianity true, Andrew?
Yeah, I asked you to elaborate on it, and you won't because you're embarrassed by it, Jeff.
No,
so the thing is,
you can say it's my belief structure. It's
ad hominem.
Yeah, I mean it is. But anyway, so when it comes to the Shroud of Turin,
why don't you ask me why my
okay, did Atlantis exist?
Oh my goodness, Carl's Frosted Tips shout out with another Rumble rant. Let me get rid of this. Said fuck Islam and all their followers. But anyway, Jesus was real. I believe it. I'm not a perfect Christian, but the Bible and God have gotten me through tough times. Fair enough. Fair enough. I personally don't necessarily have an issue with any given Muslim, but Islam, yeah, fuck Islam. Agreed. Thank you, sir. Very much appreciated. Out sponsoring your damn self.
Comes to the Shroud of Turin.
Why don't you ask me why my
okay? Did Atlantis exist, Jeff? Did Atlantis exist, Jeff?
Yes, I think so.
You think so? And that's based on your expert opinion, right? Because you're an expert scholar.
Real quick. No. When you say Atlantis, I just want to clarify this. Are you talking about a civilization that existed before the flood? Because I mean,
yes, this would be pre-cataclysm. Pre-cataclysm.
Yeah, obviously. So, do you agree? Can we agree though, Jeff? Do you think there was a great flood at some point, and that everything?
Yeah. So, as if you said, Islam is what Christianity was 800 years ago.
Bingo.
Yup. Jesus is just all right with me. Shout out to Clam Daddy. Welcome to the party. Said, what are these people even talking about? You're saying we have some old fabric scraps? The fuck does that even prove? Nothing. Welcome to the party, Clam Daddy. Very good to see ya. Thinking like me. That's what I'm saying. Like, even if we're to say, okay, that was, put over, like, what? Come on, man. Welcome.
Thing was flooded out.
Yeah, I think there's objective, empirical, anthropological and geological evidence.
Now, why would I bring this up? I bring this up.
He asked me a question. Why don't you hush for a minute?
Why don't you shut up, Jeff? While I'm talking.
Let's be cool. Let's be cool.
Jeff.
You ever
Yikes. So a little bit of projection. Not a full projection, but a little bit of projection that he wants to jump down Jeffrey's throat when he's saying, oh, you're embarrassed to tell me about things. And so we ask about it. He starts talking about Atlantis, which, again, not familiar with what that is, but I guess he's saying that even though he doesn't believe in Christianity, he believes that there was a time when there was at least one city, and then it got flooded away. It's kind of like magical stories. It's still real to me. Hey, if it's real to you, good for you. Just don't ask me to say it's also real unless you can give me the evidence.
No, I'm just trying to explain because he asked me a question first. He asked what does this have to do with it? I'm trying to explain it. Trying to explain what it has to do with it. So just so you know,
tell you what I believe. He wants to answer my question.
Let's hear Andrew.
Yep, that is what he wants to do. He wants to get in front of what Jeff can say because either he doesn't know what Jeff's going to say, or he knows that the question that he asks is going to put himself in not a great position.
So anyway,
Jeff, everybody's going to get a chance.
The reason I bring this up is because Jeff says the reason that I bring this up at all is because Jeff claims that he's a scholar. Jeff claims that he's a scholar and that he's sourcing his hundreds of thousands of hours in biblical evidence, which I don't even believe he has, but what he claims he's sourcing as 100,000 plus hours from his scholarly position.
Is he saying that as a scholar on Atlantis, or is he talking about being a biblical scholar on the truth claims of what he's saying? I don't know. Again, I don't know if this Atlantis shit is the dumbest shit you ever heard of. That's not what we're here to talk about. This is a red herring. Zippy said, I think his point is if fantasy Atlantis can exist, so can God. Maybe, but I don't think that. I think the argument would be that it's not fantasy, that we have whatever evidence he has to believe in it. So, I mean, I guess, right?
I need you to understand that scholars also often discredit themselves. They discredit themselves by giving you discoveries that aren't actually discoveries, that are based in nonsense. And so that way we can test their methodology. In this case, I think that Jeff, who's making...
Okay. So see, Jeff was wrong about a thing one time. So nothing that he says can be correct. That's Andrew's argument.
These incredible claims, like, I think the Shroud of Turin comes from blah, blah. So what? What makes you the expert, Mr. Guy who...
A lot of people make that...
Oh, you're the one who presented the Shroud of Turin as evidence. You brought that up. He didn't bring that up.
Claim, to be fair.
Okay, well, let's find out. Let's find out where the expertise goes.
Let's see, Jeff. So the flood in
what did you ask me before, Andrew?
So Leslie said Atlantis isn't far-fetched. I think the Sumerians were very, very advanced at that time, and it could have been their city. And again, this is why my whole life is believe nothing except that anything is possible. So obviously, I don't believe in an Aquaman city. But does it make sense that, ocean levels were at a different place and they had stuff here or whatever? Of course. Does it mean I believe in it? Like, yes, I believe it's there. No. It means this could possibly be a thing. I'm not closed off to the idea, nor am I fully behind the idea. Like I said, that there is just as little evidence of Atlantis as Jesus. So why believe one or the other? Same, but different. So that would be a better way if he was going there. If that's the argument he was trying to make. That, well, there's not a lot of evidence for my thing, and there's not a lot of evidence for your thing. So where do you get off telling me I'm wrong? That's I could understand that, but that's not how you win the debate on is Christianity true. So either way, I do not like his tactic here. As I said, there was a flood in Mesopotamia. Yeah, and so like again, geographically where it is, if they say, oh, it's right here, I don't know. But as Leslie said, it's not far-fetched. Gonzag said, lucky for me, I believe in both. Fence sitter master race. You're gonna have to put your foot down one of these days. You're gonna have to put your foot down one of these days. Being a fence sitter is good when the two sides are too extreme. But you gotta have opinions, man. You gotta have opinions and positions.
Well, let's see, Jeff. So the flood in
what did you ask me before Andrew cut me off?
Well, I was kind of wondering what is, I guess, in your mind, that was a lot of writing, but, is that what you consider Atlantis, the civilization before the flood? I guess what is, if you think that there's an Atlantis, let's just what is your general idea of what it was?
And so again, how far, now we're defining what your general idea of Atlantis was in the context of is Christianity true? Why?
Yeah, even though Andrew says this is my doctrine, I have no idea what he's talking about. I do believe there was an Atlantis. And I do believe that there was a great flood. Now, can we empirically prove it? Probably not. But yeah, I do believe there was a great flood. And I do believe Atlantis did exist.
And this is why this is important for us to bring up. I need to understand what your methodologies are for coming to the conclusion that Atlantis ever existed. The only reference found is from one source, as far as I'm aware, which is Plato, who was also talking in a broad sweeping sense about republics and all sorts of things in the abstract. So I would actually like to know what Jeff Daugherty's methodologies are for this as the scholar Jeff Daugherty. That's very important, I think.
Well, Jeff said that Christianity is communism. I mean, the debate itself is Christianity true? That was just a quote from Jeff. But exactly, they're going all over the place because they are not focused.
Methodologies are for this. As the scholar Jeff Daugherty. That's very important, I think.
This is actually a big red herring. We're supposed to be talking about Christianity. He wants to talk about Atlantis.
That is true.
Told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Because I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time.
Brasse.
I just want to talk. I'm talking about credit.
To talk about Atlantis.
That is true.
I just want to talk. I'm talking about credibility.
Jeff is being true, though.
I'm talking about credibility. So first of all, if you claim that you're a scholar, hang on, stop. If you claim that you're a scholar,
exactly. He never said I'm a scholar on Atlantis. He said I'm a biblical scholar.
If you claim you're a scholar and that you have methodologies which would lead you to believe that Atlantis existed. Atlantis, the mythological city and the mythological cities of Hyperborea, the mythological northern literal legend of Hyperborea actually existed in reality, in objective reality. I want to understand the methodologies that you're using to come to these conclusions, and then I'm going to apply those same methodologies to make sure that you're applying it consistently to these claims as well.
That's a very good tactic of putting yourself in. Okay, I'm going to determine whether you're even smart enough or credible enough to have this discussion. I mean, that's a good way to never, ever, ever, ever get to what his actual argument is. And so going back to what Guantek said is that, bringing up Atlantis, is he trying to say that there's a little evidence of this, and so there's a little evidence of Jesus? But I feel like that would go in the other direction, because then Jeff could just say, okay, maybe we're both wrong. Maybe there's no Atlantis, because you're right. There's not enough evidence. So you've convinced me. I no longer believe in Atlantis. What now? Wouldn't help him. Gondek said, I feel like going all over the place is just Andrew's debate tactic. He wants details to meander from the real conversation. Bingo. This is very similar to that Dean Withers kid, one of the white dudes for Harris. He, the one where he tries to talk really fast and like, well, if you well, how do you? It's the same thing. It's semantics. It's trying to go in and again muddy the waters, create a different goal than understanding the question. And again, it's a good tactic, but it's not helping us get to any understanding. So it's really about what do you want out of a debate. As you said, I can assure you, if there was a guy, he did not help out the Jews. Jewish temple, not did he help out the Romans for creating Christian, nor did he help the Romans for creating Christian nationalism. You never know. You never know. He said Sodom and Gomorrah did not exist. Prove it, bro. Yeah, I don't know. I need evidence.
Apply those same methodologies to make sure that you're applying it consistently to these claims as well.
As I said to Alex, we can't empirically prove that Atlantis existed. You're on a red herring here. You've already said that you're telling me what my beliefs are. Those aren't my beliefs.
So I don't just believe it.
I didn't call myself a scholar. All I'm saying is that I believe in the text, the whole text, and nothing but the text. And the reason why I'm so big on the text, I think the greatest way to get somebody to free themselves from Christianity is simple. Get them to read the Bible.
Yep. That was me for a good, 15 to 20 years. I was all in. Never would have ever thought that you could live a life without believing in God. But that's because I never read the Bible.
I thought we were here to talk about Christianity, and we've been arguing for 20 minutes about Atlantis.
I said shit. Me too. That's what I thought. And it's again a tactic. As you said, Jesus existed. The question is, what version of Jesus you were taught? Bingo. Exactly.
Agree that a key tenet.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is
so I'll
true.
respond. Do you agree that a key tenet of Christianity is faith and belief? That's a key tenet.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. But you say, I believe in Atlantis, right? It's a belief.
No, I didn't say I believe in Atlantis.
You literally just said that to Alex.
I said it's possible that there is Atlantis, but we can't prove it empirically.
So you don't
okay, enough about Atlantis. Enough about Atlantis.
Well, actually, what we're talking about is belief.
No, what you're talking about is just other bullshit. Leslie said, I was taught in an anti-Roman church, the Worldwide Church of God. Is that the same church as, so that'll be a different church than Eastern Orthodox, right? Because that's Andrew's tribe that he knows for sure has all the exact right answers, and all the other types of Christianity are wrong.
We're talking about what makes belief foundational and what makes the epistemic claim correct. That's what we're actually talking about. The reason that this is important is because what Jeff is doing is he's applying a form of epistemology here. Okay, how we know things, how it is that we can make determinations about things.
Hey, shout out to Dan Soup. Welcome to the party. I assume you're talking about Andrew Wilson, but maybe you're talking about Jeff. I don't know. I hope you're not talking about Alex Stein, because prime time 99. But welcome to the party, sir. We're debating, is Christianity true? Obviously, Christian and non-believer.
How we know things, how it is that we can make determinations about things. He made a claim here, right? Listen, it's a key point. Empirically, we can't say X, right? So this means that Jeff is going off, and
that's not a truth claim. That's an observation. The truth claim is on you. You have the burden of proof that Christianity is true. We don't believe things until we prove that they're not true. We don't believe things, or this is how you should operate. You don't believe something until you have sufficient reason to believe it. Yeah, I figured. So he's trying to say, well, you made a claim here. You made a claim here. It's like, no, I'm just making the observation that your claim needs evidence.
Empirically, we can't say X, right? So this means that Jeff is going off and his methodologies are you.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little out of left field, but let's just say the Dems never loved black people. The ball just fell in their court after the GOP adopted the Southern Dems.
Bingo.
Utilizing empiricism, which is its own brand of both philosophy and it can be used as a form of scientific methodology. It's important that we understand and establish the methodologies that Jeff is using when we're comparing his claims to that of notable scholars who've been studying this issue for thousands of years. So when I ask about these
appeal to authority, but it would fit if he did think that hard. But I don't know that he does.
These questions, they're pertinent, they're key, and I want to know the epistemic foundations that Jeff has in which we can make the knowledge claims at all. How do we?
And that's fair. You can question his epistemology, but you can't say because you're wrong on that thing, you cannot be right on anything else. You have to make the argument. Okay, fine. Maybe he's wrong about Atlantis. How does that make you right about Christianity? It doesn't.
Determine what is knowledge, Jeff.
When I say empirical, I'm not talking about I know you have a $500 debate course and you're the blood debater, but the BLOODSPORT debater. But when I say empirical, it's easier, Andrew, just to ask me what I mean than to go off on these things and tell me what I mean. When I say empirical, I mean not opinion based.
Well, see, here's the thing, Jeff. He's not interested in what you actually mean. He's interested in getting clips. He's interested in pandering to his own audience. So again, it doesn't matter that he's not adding substance. It doesn't matter that he's not actually standing up for Christianity. It doesn't matter that he's not giving good arguments for his position. It just matters that he looks cool.
There's some facts for it, some objective. I use the word empirical. I think that's correct in the English language. I don't see any objective empirical facts where I can point and say, oh, yes, Atlantis was real. But we're talking about Christianity. And since you're talking about faith, let me ask you, is faith that Jesus Christ died on the cross for your sins and rose again the third day, is that sufficient enough to make you a Christian in your mind?
So I'm actually very surprised. Well, maybe I shouldn't be so surprised, but our poll is truly believing Jesus Christ died for our sins enough to be a Christian. And it was pretty close, but 61% of you said no. And I wonder, to those 61% of you, how would you respond to somebody who said, yes, I'm a Christian. I don't go to church. I don't like the Bible, but I have a relationship with Jesus Christ, and that makes me a Christian. I would be very interested to hear that, because when I was growing up, that's all it was. And like, again, I was in a Catholic church, so we did more than we did more than just have that relationship. But the idea was that that's all that it takes. King Nirvana said, I think he only cares about the win from what I gather.
Bingo.
You gather correctly, sir. Gontek said, actions are better than words and beliefs. And I agree. I agree with you. But I would not, especially when, with the recent people like Russell Brand and Nala Ray, the OF girl, it just seemed like a lot of Christians were very quick to be like, oh, they're with us now. When it's like, well, I thought there would be a little bit more of a litmus test from somebody who was, finger popping each other's assholes on OF. You just say the words and now it's good. So it's interesting that this poll doesn't line up. So maybe you guys are gatekeepers, or maybe you guys are more pure. Who knows? And that's exactly what they are.
In the third day, is that sufficient enough to make you a Christian in your mind, since we're talking about faith? No?
So you're faith and works guy, Andrew?
Yeah, so I'm an Eastern Orthodox, right? We have.
And so again, to even say a faith and works guy means that there could be that version of Christian and then another version of Christian that doesn't believe that. And so that presents an issue when we're saying, is Christianity true? Okay, well, which version of Christianity?
I think you're talking about perhaps penal substitution atonement.
What I'm talking about
very
is
heavily.
You say Christianity.
Penal.
The people that hear you,
Christianity
here's
is not my
something else.
Listen, I need you to understand that the distinction between how we view Christianity, and I don't speak for the church, okay?
Mhm.
Yeah, and if anybody in the church wants,
So he's a biblical scholar. Therefore, anything he says about Atlantis is directly relevant to what he says about Christianity. But you're just some guy. You're just. I think he used the word layman. I'm just a layman here. Okay, dude.
between how we view
Convenient.
Christianity, and I don't speak
Convenient.
for the church, okay?
Mhm.
Yeah, and if anybody in the church wants to correct this, or somebody who's higher up, which is everybody, they're welcome to. I can just give you my understanding. So the
So your understanding could be wrong. Just making sure.
understanding is Christianity itself is not just a state of mind. It's not just a state of, well, I believe in Christ, so therefore all things good. It's a process towards what's called theosis.
But we can agree. We can agree that there are people who are accept themselves as Christians, and other Christians who accept them as Christians merely for the belief. At least they will them that they accept them. I really doubt that if you said no in this poll that we just did, and somebody came up to you in church and said, or okay, let's say that going to church in itself is works, but somebody's in line at Starbucks or whatever, and you're talking, oh, you're a Christian, oh, me too, and then it comes out that all they do is believe and have that relationship. I highly doubt any of you would be willing to say, actually, you're not really a Christian. Does that have more to do with the social thing about attacking people's beliefs in general? Maybe, but the point stands. Quantex said gatekeeping could also be seen as having standards. I personally think the just believe argument is there to just pad the numbers. That's why I don't call myself a Christian. I completely agree. 100%. 100%.
Christ, so therefore all things good. It's a process towards what's called theosis, the idea of participating in the energies of God. That is theosis. That is what the root of Christianity is about.
And so again, you could just drill down. And so what do you mean by participate in the energy, or what was it? Participate in the energy. Like you use all of these terms and phrases. If you had heard him say that, you would have been like, okay, well, now we got to break that down. What does that mean? And Jordan Peterson as, well, what do you mean by participating? And what do you mean by energies? Which is fair, but he doesn't do it the other way.
Of God. That is theosis. That is what the root of Christianity is about from our worldview, not about, I just believe that Jesus Christ died for our sins, and so now everybody's happy and happy as can be. I think that it does require more than that there is more to it than that. Yes.
Okay, so just to make sure I'm understanding you, if someone, according to Romans chapter 10, verses 9 and 10, confesses with their mouth that Jesus is Lord, believes in their heart that God raised him from the dead,
Yeah.
Romans 9 and 10 says they will be saved. But if I understand you correctly, Andrew Wilson says, no, that's not true.
Well, you can't unfortunately for you, what you're doing is you're cherry picking.
Oh, you mean like how you were taking some random thing about what he said about Atlantis that has nothing to do with Christianity? Projection! Come on, man. Come on, man. Gondek said, I'll also say that most wannabe Christians live pretty close to God anyway. So maybe they are more Christian than a guy that doesn't have any connection to it or practice, but just says he does. And again, I agree with you, but my issue comes in with, if we have the wannabe Christians living pretty close to God anyway, then why not use the way that they are living and the way that it's been for so long, and update things so that we have, we follow the truth. If we have evidence for something, then we can stand stronger behind it. And if we don't, then we can see that we don't need all of those things, because the wannabe Christians live pretty close to God anyway. Pat, meat kettle. Let's see, he said, the real Jesus would probably piss on the book of Romans. Agreed.
Says, no, that's not true.
Well, you can't unfortunately for you, what you're doing is you're cherry picking. So the Bible's holistic and self-referencing. So anytime you point out anything, literally anything, I guarantee you that I'll be able to pull scripture which agrees with me.
So then what you're saying is the source could go either way and isn't evidence of anything. And again, are you going to tell me that the average person, the average Christian, when we talk about people who are just average Christians, you show them that in the Bible, and then you would reject that because it's out of context? I don't think that I don't think that you have the authority to dictate which parts we listen to and which parts we don't. Clearly, Andrew does, but yeah, Dylan said Romans, the original cultural appropriators.
Jesus also built a church, and he came to leave us a church. And he's very specific. In fact, all of the things which you're referencing in the New Testament are letters to Christ's church. That's what all the apostles, that's what they were. That's what Matthew was and Mark.
So remember, this rant started out about epistemology. And then we went to the Bible. And now he's gone, like, what are you talking about, man? He asked you if that phrase in the Bible is legit. Basically.
Church. That's what all the apostles, that's what they were. That's what Matthew was and Mark and Luke, and all of it was all letters to the church. And what they were trying to convey is how the church has to conduct itself. The belief in Jesus Christ has a guiding principle and Christian ethics behind it. And more, it has theosis behind it. It's not just a matter of a mind state. It's much more complex than that.
So what if, as Gonzaga was saying about the wannabe Christians, what if we have a better world by not gatekeeping as hard? Still gatekeep to have standards, but not so hard that the you don't really have to do a lot in order to be part of the club, and the club being people who are making the world better. How is that not what we want? Because again, the option to get everybody to be Christian is not there. That's not one of the options. And so he gets into this thing about, well, what's better? What's better? Like, I don't know, man. Let's sit down and talk about it. You're already claiming the win. Let's talk about it.
So can you give me a
real quick, Jeff, because we're talking about this now. We're talking about the Bible. Let's actually get on the Bible. Let's talk about Constantine's influence on Christianity. I'd like you to actually elaborate on that, Jeff, and then you can rebut that.
Okay, I think we really need to get back to that because that's very, very important. I would like to know the Bible texts that refute Romans 10:9 and 10.
We can get it.
It's not a refutation. What I'm saying is that you're missing on the key points of synergy. Like,
okay, so if you're saying you're taking it out of context, what's the context? What's the context where it said, "He who accepts Christ" or whatever will see the kingdom of heaven? And that's that's Romans 10:9 and 10, right? You said that you're taking that out. So what's the context that aligns with no? It's not just enough. You could say that, but now you're going to go.
What I'm saying is that you're missing on the key points of synergy. Like you do this with Paul too. You say, well, Paul, you said this to a girl in a 2016 interview. You were like, Paul was basically telling women to go make him a sandwich, right? Like, shut up, go make it. Okay, well then so is Peter, because Peter affirms everything Paul said about submission to your husband.
What does that have to do with what it says in Romans?
So the thing is like, Paul did not come and change the continuity of the Bible.
Gonzaga said, to the question of would you say someone wasn't Christian, another good thing to remind yourself to ask is, who the fuck am I to judge? Would do good. That would do people good.
Peter reinforces exactly what Paul is saying. So like you just omit that. And
no,
so
what
I'm saying to you, well, you didn't agree that
both Peter and we were talking about Romans, but both Peter and whoever Paul are both saying the same thing, that if you just accept Christ, then you're in the kingdom. I think you just made Jeff's argument.
And so what I'm saying to you, yeah, you do now. So what I'm saying to you is that these referent points that you have, you're missing out on these keys, which is if you can point to.
So that's the third time he said you're missing out without saying what is missing.
Romans and say, here's what I think it means. But
so I would be, if I'm Jeff, I'm like, okay, what am I missing? Can you explain to me why that's not the case?
Well, it's not what I think it means. That's what the text says.
Absent the rest of what the teachings of Jesus Christ and the apostles were, you don't get a clear picture. That's not how it works, man.
Okay, so give me the clear picture. Because again, now we're going back to, okay, if you're a scholar and you're parsing through the text, then fine. You can, you can think whatever you want about how this relates to that chapter and so on and so on and so forth. But the average person that goes to church on Easter and Christmas is not doing that. And that is the dominant culture. There's way more people like that call themselves Christians than people who are digging this deep into the book.
First of all, the Bible's a liturgical book. It's not even made for the layman. It's good for the layman to read it.
Really?
Yeah, it's good for the layman to read.
So if you follow, according to Andrew Wilson, if you follow the Bible, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're not even really a Christian.
Read
And
it.
why does your
but
church say they shouldn't read it without the commentaries of your?
They don't.
They do.
They don't. They tell you to read your Bible all the time. In fact,
Did I miss? I thought the question was saying, if the Bible is so wrong, then why don't they tell you to read it with Andrew's commentary? Is that not what you just said?
meant to read
And
it.
why does your
but
church say they shouldn't read it without the commentaries of your?
They don't.
Yeah. Why doesn't your church say you shouldn't read this without Andrew's commentary on top because you'll get it wrong? And he says they don't. Okay, so exactly. Then people are just reading the fucking Bible, dude. What are you talking about?
They do.
They don't. They tell you to read your Bible all the time. In fact, the Eastern Orthodox Church, you do more Bible reading than you do inside of a Protestant church. Ask me how I know that, Jeff? They tell you to read it all the time. They explain to you all the time. And the reason that they do say, look at footnotes from like the Eastern Orthodox Study Bible, things like this, or talk to.
So again, Romans 10, 9, and 10. Let's actually, I know they pull it up here in a second, but let's just grab it. Romans 10. So it says, if you confess with your mouth that take two. If you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. I understand there's more words before that, and I understand there's more words after that. But people will take Bible quotes all of the time. And so unless you're taking the position that all of those people are wrong for cherry picking the parts of the Bible, in which case I would agree with you, but then we have to have a reason to care about the Bible at all. Zippy said, Protestantism tells you to read it. Orthodox Catholics tell you not to. It's not the unready mind. The unready mind. What is say more on that? What does that mean?
At footnotes from like the Eastern Orthodox Study Bible, things like this, or talk to priests, is because they can give you something very valuable, which you're not giving people. Context, contextualization, the understanding.
And again, Andrew, what was the context that you gave us so far?
Of apostolic succession, how these things have been divinated out over 2,000 years. This is a complex, very complex formula. It's not like just as easy as I have a mind state, therefore saved.
And again, I would agree with you, but that wasn't the question. The question was about the text. The text says this, but you say no. Why? Oh, okay. I thought that was a more specific reference. I got you. Well,
you have a right to your beliefs. You have a right to your opinions. But I don't care if people are Christian or not. I do care, but I'm not here to try to change anybody's faith. That's their right. But I think they deserve to have all the information. And
I said shit. Me too. I know for whatever is one step short of a fact that so many people, if it were the case that we were able to sit down with Christians and other people who are not Christians but want society to work the same way that the wannabe Christians and Christians want, and figure out a way to have a moral structure that doesn't depend on that single truth claim. Number one, a bunch of people would be all for it. And number two, a lot of the people who are, the hedonist atheists would have a reason to be better people. They have the unready mind. We need to ready their mind. But that is a process.
when you say that Romans 10, 9, and 10, if you follow Romans 10, 9, and 10, and it doesn't give you salvation, I think that will surprise a lot of people. And I think that the burden is on you to find a text from the Bible to prove that. And then you go back to women. Mm-hmm. I'm in complete agreement with you. The Bible is horribly misogynistic. Paul was misogynistic. Peter was,
for better or worse, right? Jokes.
Misogynistic, 100%. And I don't understand why ladies that read that will still go in and give their money. I was an evangelist for 20 years. I traveled church to church to church. And every single church I was in, at least 60, 70% women, at least 67, 70% women giving the money. And why do you ladies?
And so again, they're just, pulling up.
Stay in the church when they think this way about you.
And so when it comes to that, when we are talking about context, if you want to talk about the context of being submissive and all that stuff, there's absolutely a non-offensive way for women to see that. But that's my point. It's not an either or. It's not you have the Bible and Christianity or all of those ideas just disappear from the earth. That's not how the world works, or it's not how it needs to work.
Okay.
Well,
so
this is Romans 10:9-10. It says, if you
Yeah,
declare with
so-
your mouth Jesus is Lord, and that's
And
means you get into heaven by
here's all
faith
the Bible text about works. You can find it in Proverbs 3:27, Ecclesiastes 9:10.
Okay, let's do that. Proverbs 3:27. Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due when it is your power to act.
What?
Okay, agreed. Great value to have. What does that have to do with being saved? What was the next one? All right, he said, Ecclesiastes, that's not an L, Ecclesiastes 9:10. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. For there's no work or device or knowledge or wisdom in the grave where you are going. How does that refute Romans 10:9-10? Oh, it doesn't. Okay, so just out here bullshitting. Fair enough.
Here's all the Bible text about works. You can find it in Proverbs 3:27, Ecclesiastes 9:10, Ecclesiastes 12:14, Matthew 5:14, 6 through
Are there
16,
contradictions in the Bible?
Matthew 20.
Andrew?
Hang on. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Matthew
Oh, I had the exact same response as Jeff here. Like, oh, now we want to be like this.
Contradictions in the
Matthew
Bible?
20.
Andrew?
Hang on. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Matthew, I didn't interrupt
Come on,
you.
let's
I
be
let you go
cool.
through
You definitely interrupted a lot, bro.
your whole
Let's
spiel.
complain about turns.
Matthew
Let's not complain.
25:40, 2 Corinthians, Galatians 6:9-10, Ephesians 2:10. There, the list goes up.
No, and again, notice how he's not reading any of them. Why aren't you reading? Just pick one, and then it's out there. Then we all can determine, oh, okay, you said Romans 10:9-10 say this. So we should believe that. You bring up one or two and say what the verses say so that you can debunk what he's saying. You're not doing that. I'm not even going to waste my time looking up the rest of them because the first two were bullshit. Talk about credibility.
On and on and on, where it's discussing how your works do affect your salvation. Now, this also makes logical sense, because how could you affirm faith absent works? You can't even do it. It makes no sense.
Again, I agree. That's not what we're talking about.
When you talk about in Protestantism, you say, well, there's a lot of women in Protestant. That's true. In fact, it's like a 60-40 split. So 60% of Protestants churches are filled with women to 40% men. Same thing with Roman Catholicism. Not the case with Eastern Orthodoxy. Not the case. It's reversed. It's the one church that is reverse, right? It allows you to retain
Well, OCD there. I got to get it centered.
masculinity inside the church. I agree with you that feminists have subverted Protestant church. It was not always this way.
I think we can all agree on that one.
It's a recent development. Feminists have subverted. They even wrote the women's Bible.
Jesus was a pimp on the biggest blimp ever. Shout out to Alex Stein.
Where they try to take the miracles away from any of the good works of men away from the men. The feminist Bible is a real thing. You can look it up. I'm not kidding about this. Just so that you understand, these are not. You're looking at this through the fallacy of modernism. It's literally
Now
a
you're
fallacious
telling me what I'm thinking.
It's no. This I'm giving you a logical fallacy. It's the fallacy of modernism. So when you say, I don't know how women can look at this and not think of these people as a bunch of evil misogynists, this and that. But what was in there that was misogynistic? That
I mean, there's definitely stuff in there that's like, oh, I mean, maybe that goes a little hard. But the point that he is making is that even if we talk about being stoned for adultery, that a woman could see like, well, I believe in the sanctity of marriage. And so even though I personally wouldn't want to stone somebody for cheating on their husband, I agree with the value.
That wives need to submit to their husbands, but that they were taken care of literally by their husbands in exchange for that submission.
And again, why is it that we can't have those values pushed not only by Christians, not only by red pillars, but people who actually just want society to go well? Because we do know that gender roles serve a purpose. Why do we need God for that? And when you create the need for God, then anybody who doesn't believe in God no longer holds any of the values. Y'all are shooting yourselves in the foot. And don't forget, the Islamists are coming. Oh, where we go?
that you shouldn't just arbitrarily get a divorce, Jeff? Do you think that's worked out well for society when you got 55% of people divorcing, where just 60 years ago, we didn't have that? This is what I'm saying, man. It's like,
and so I don't think that Jeff said that was a fallacy. I don't think that is a fallacy. I think the values in the Bible can definitely be a roadmap for how we should live today. It's just when you talk about it being the end all be all, then we don't have the ability to update. We don't have the ability to be like, oh, we thought that, and we had a good reason for thinking that, but it's actually wrong. So let's update it. Google phlogiston. I don't know why this always comes to mind, but phlogiston. They used to think, scientists didn't understand what combustion was, but we had fire. And so they had, I don't remember exactly what it is, but they thought that fire was a result of this this element, phlogiston. Because they didn't understand. They had good reason to think that phlogiston existed. But once you understand combustion, then you have to say, oh, phlogiston is stupid. Zippy said, when you could not divorce, you kill. That is a strong point. That is a very strong point. I don't think that, I'm not in favor of the way people use no-fault divorce, but yeah, shout out to King Henry.
It makes no
You're
sense.
asking a lot of questions, and I don't get a
But
chance.
real quick, I want to clarify, Jeff, you probably do think women should submit to their husbands, though, right, Jeff? Or you don't think that?
No, I don't think that. I think
Okay.
it should be an equal partnership. And the point you asked, what is it in the Bible that's bad? Well, when you say that a woman should shut her damn mouth in church and that it's wrong for a woman to have authority over a man, and you also say in the Bible that if women don't cover their heads, they're going to be raped by angels. When you are saying these things, you're being terribly abusive of women. And I ask the question, why do ladies put up with that when they don't have to?
Because unlike you, Jeff, some people can apply logic. And the thing is that there's nothing
That was a good one.
illogical
That's
about telling women to cover up in church so that people
Agreed.
can focus on what is going on at church rather than focusing on their bodies or having to deal with lustful feelings.
Yeah, I completely agree with the fact there was, again, a reason for this. Is it something, I mean, I don't really give a shit either way, but, I'm part of a modern society where it is incumbent on men to control those desires and lustful feelings. And so, that doesn't seem relevant, but only because we had the liberal ideas that brought us here. Yeah, right. Logic, religion, they go together like candy and lamb chop.
This type of thing, which
So
you
it's
can
the
kind of-
ladies' fault.
you can
not the
pretend. No, it's not the fault. This is not a fault. This is a thing which is built into human beings. If you see a hot chick, it can be very distracting. And so what you're doing is you're creating an elimination of distraction. It's not.
And so we can, again, not even split the difference, but take from both. So we can understand that men have a natural biological drive to hot women. But then we can also be like, okay, despite the fact that you have a biological drive, it's not your right to, just go do whatever you want. Society wins. We have modesty for the right reasons, and we don't have all that lustful bullshit. I mean, you know what I mean. Zippy said, looking at Islam, if you do not cover up,
Haram.
Dunzo. Dylan said, oh God, it's the debate me bro versus the limp brisket. Oh, that's a good one. He does. He's very much, he's very limp wristed. He's not saying it with your chest. Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest, man. Yeah, have some fucking balls.
And so what you're doing is you're creating an elimination of distraction. It's not the fault of women, but it's not the fault of men. It's basic ontological hardwiring, right? Men want to stick the PP in the V, right? Pretty simple. The thing is like controlling lust is one of the tenets of Christian ethics. And so, of course, inside of church, they tell men also to dress modesty. Men aren't allowed to go in all buff with tank tops on and big muscles hanging out everywhere and be distracting.
Good point. I don't know if he's here, but shout out to Funk Master General for the Cash App. Very, very, very much appreciated. I don't know if he's here. If you're here, say hello, and we'll update the sponsor spot. But I don't know if that came in now or if that came in before. But either way, thank you so very, very much, sir. Always appreciate Funk. Master General.
Allowed to go in all buff with tank tops on and big muscles hanging out everywhere and be distracting, right?
Some
Because
churches-
that,
some
because that
churches you
could
can,
create
though.
Yeah, you can.
that
You
could
can.
create that
Actually.
could create distraction. Some churches, women can dress like harlots too. What's your point?
That's true.
Those aren't real churches.
My
What I'm
point
saying to
is
you, hang on,
that's
Jeff,
not-
I'm almost done. What I'm
Sorry.
saying to you is that just like with men aren't allowed to go in and be distracting to women who are practicing the faith. Women aren't allowed to do it either. The guidelines are completely, from your view, would be egalitarianism. Neither of you can do this. Neither one of you
Sorry, I missed that. My apologies.
can be distracting to women who are practicing the faith. Women aren't allowed to do it either. The guidelines are completely, from your view, would be egalitarianism. Neither of you can do this.
Good point. Good point.
Neither one of you.
And I agree.
And, I'm not opposed to agreeing with somebody. That's my whole point, is that there's a lot in Christianity that's good. We don't want to throw it all away. But number one, not all of it is good. And number two, not everybody is going to believe in it. So we gotta do something to bridge that gap.
But again, you're putting words in my mouth, is the way I hear, because I'm not saying, I didn't talk anything about how women dress in church. I talked about you telling them they can't speak in church. I
Yeah.
talked about, let me finish, please.
Let's be
I
quiet.
talked about you telling them that they have to be staying at home. I talked about you telling them that they can't,
I mean, there's kids, right?
I'm saying you, I'm talking about the Bible, that they can't have any authority over men. I'm talking about Paul saying that it wasn't the man that sinned, it was the woman. These are the things I'm talking about, not the silliness. I've been in let me finish. I've been in Pentecostal churches, and it's so stupid. The skirt's too high, the hair's too low. I agree with you. No, we're talking about treating women like they're not, like they're second-class citizens. I think that's wrong. I don't know why ladies put up with
Okay, well, let's dive into this. First of all,
So, I mean, Andrew's going to flip it around here, because that is a very, as he said, a very modern and liberal way to look at things. Is everything modern and liberal bad? No.
when you're discussing this, you say, well, I don't understand. Women are second class. They're not treated as second class citizens. They're treated according to the ontological nature of which women have, and the same with men. Men have a requirement and duty in society to sacrifice. You know how they do that, Jeff? They go die in foreign wars. They get blown to smithereens. They fight on the front lines. Women can't do any of that.
Exactly, Carl. Dinner is not gonna cook itself.
Women can't really.
The kids aren't gonna raise themselves.
Women can't really do law enforcement
Wait, no.
roles.
The laundry's not gonna do itself. Half joking. But again, at the time the Bible was written, this was the way that families were built. Shout out to Equality and Difference, because a vagina over on Rumble said treating women like children makes perfect sense because they are children with tits. Fair enough. Welcome to the party.
Women can't do any of that. Women can't really do law enforcement roles. Women can't really do these.
So now he's like, yeah, I mean, women can't do combat stuff, but they should be completely equal. Well, but then they're not.
Do the role of taking care of prison inmates en masse. Men have to make all of those duties and all those sacrifices. So you know what, Jeff? They get the big fucking piece of chicken, Jeff. That's how it works. They get the big piece of chicken because they do the lion's share of the things that make you die. So they get that's not women being second class citizens. That's men being second class citizens, Jeff. It's us adhering to our duties to women. It's just,
and when you understand that, then you don't need to get all, you said a mean thing about a woman. No, it's just different. Not same. Very different. So I just found out women can vote.
What? Oh,
I don't. You might need a fact check on that, bro. I don't know if that's legit. Quality, you got me. Yeah, made you laugh. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
second class citizens, Jeff. It's us adhering to our duties to women. It's just that you give women an out and say you have no duty. Biblically, this is what is found.
And that is what happens when you don't have some type of moral structure. It's just whatever feels good. But if people don't believe in the truth claims, you need another way to get to the moral structure.
What is found actually in Christianity, that men have a higher duty and that we should not fall susceptible to women, much like Adam did to Eve. We have a higher duty to women, and that what we
Okay, so let's make that a poll. Should women be able to
do
vote?
is we protect women from themselves and we protect them from evil men. We do both of those things. Women are incapable of doing either of those things by your own admission.
Whose own admission?
Yours. You just said women can't do any of these things. You can't fight on the front line. They can't be the cops. They can't do these things.
I said it's best for women not to be in combat, to be cops. If I'm in a burning fire, I want Alex Stein, a big strapping man, pulling me out. I don't want a girl come pulling me out.
Yeah.
Well, exactly, Jeff. That is why we have these values. They're not mean. And when you phrase it that way, then again, you're creating more and more and more of an unnecessary gap in what we're actually talking about. What is right and wrong? What should people do in their daily lives? This kind of stuff is way more minuscule than we are actually making out of it. Because on a day-to-day basis, that's not the stuff that pushes society either up into a better place or down into the gutter where the fuck we are. Quality said, women vote. Absolutely not. They shouldn't even be making their own decisions. All right. Let's take it easy.
All I said, and again, you're trying to twist my words, was it is wrong, in my opinion, and I don't know why ladies go to places and give money that say you can't talk, you can't work, you can't have authority. And
did you ever ask them? This is where that white savior complex comes in. Did you ask them? Maybe like, yeah, I actually prefer to be in traditional gender roles.
You are supposed to be in the kitchen, barefoot, pregnant, and making a sandwich.
None of that's ever said anywhere in the Bible. You're just straw manning it. You're completely straw manning it. I can show
you exactly where it
says. Show me. Show me where it says women are to be barefoot in the kitchen, pregnant in the Bible anywhere. Lying Jeff.
Okay.
And he said, women vote? Absolutely not. They shouldn't be able to make their own decisions. I'm trying to think of how I can say that gently. I don't think you can. You could try, but.
So we're going to go that. You're going to do that.
Well, the thing is like, just if you're going to say, if you're going to make this claim, you're going to be like, what's really going on here is they want you pregnant in the kitchen, barefoot, making a sandwich. That is not biblical ethics. Has nothing to do with biblical ethics. All biblical ethics is trying to show you is that
it's also not true. There's very many men who are very happy to go to work, go to war, go to this, go to that, and have a stay-at-home wife mother. There's nothing wrong with that. You're trying to demonize something. For what reason? What does that have to do with the truth of Christianity?
That is not biblical ethics. Has nothing to do with biblical ethics. All biblical ethics is trying to show you is,
it's more relevant to biblical ethics than Atlantis is.
That due to the ontology, the distinct being difference between men and women, the natural roles which men gravitate towards versus women are going to be set in a patriarchal sense always, no matter what. And it's because men are in the position to do things women cannot do. And the reverse is not true other than what? Pregnancy. And what does the Bible say? Through childbirth, that's how women are saved. That's one of the big paths to salvation for women is through childbirth. So
what are they saved from, Andrew?
It's leading to Jesus Christ for the remission of sin.
Saved from God, who's going to do God things because he told you that he had to do it. And if you don't do it, then you're in trouble.
And that's for being pregnant.
It's not the being pregnant that does that. It's the being pregnant is a natural occurrence that leads you to the belief of a higher like authority, higher power, something. All it's saying is this is a good.
That's a stretch, evolution and just putting PP in G. Carl said, actually funny, this is a Christian episode. Tomorrow's my birthday. I'm getting a new Christian tattoo, a Jerusalem cross. Well, happy birthday to you, sir. Very glad to see that. That's cool, man. I mean, it does say in the Bible that you shouldn't ink your skin, but do your own thing. Happy for you, brother. Happy birthday.
Good way to start you on the path towards a belief in Jesus Christ. That's what it means. And so when you follow these footsteps, when you're talking about ontology, men's being, women's being, like you said, you want a man to pull you out of a fire. Why? Because a general rule, which is that men generally are a lot stronger than women. And so
put a 1 in the chat if you do not see that lesbian firefighter say that thing about your husband. If your husband, if you don't know what I'm talking about, put a 1 in the chat.
If you have to take the gamble, you want a man to come in and pull your ass out. Yeah, so they exchange for that in societies, may get the big piece of chicken. You can't give them the duty absent the responsibility. That doesn't make women second-class citizens, Jeff.
Does the Bible say that women have to shut up in church? Yes or no?
Yeah, they have to be silent in church.
Okay.
But hang on, what's the qualifier? The qualifier is if you want correction, talk and speak to your husband, right?
Ask him at
And,
home.
and ask your husband about it. The husband, who's then the head of the household, will discuss it with you. They can then go to clergy and say, hey, there's a problem, there's an issue, this and that. Why? Well, because
So anti-establishment, right? Go to the people who are in charge. They will tell you what's right. Quality Endeavor said, hey now, there's no proof for evolution, but there's totally proof that a Mexican carpenter walked on water and rose from the dead. When you throw science like that, I mean, I gotta cheers to you. Cheers to you. Carl said, probably shouldn't blame the fire-trapped victim. Yeah, it's right here, so nobody's been... Oh, that like, what are we doing here? Nobody said he didn't see it, but I figured screw it.
Knowing that you want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives
Nope. I want somebody just like the heathen said, somebody who can do the job.
that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
What?
Fucking pardon?
Of a fire, their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
Yeah, that's why we have firefighters. When people are in places that are on fire. Why are they all so angry about everything? I said, there's no proof for evolution. There's totally proof of Mexican carpenter. Science for the win. When you're right, you're right. When you're right, you're right. All right, I've been back in here. Real quick, Carl said, as a firefighter for past many years, this is a poor excuse for a firefighter. We don't blame the victims.
Bingo.
And it's very interesting. You know, there was like right around 9/11. Before that, I wasn't paying attention to society. But after 9/11, the police and the fire department were held in essentially equal esteem. And over the years, so maybe not, but like at that time, so maybe not since then, but like at that time. And I don't back the blue. I think I back law and order, but fuck cops. Cops are usually dicks. And there was never that reason to have ire towards firefighters because you're just fighting fires. And then that bitch. Quality said, wow, Super Dyke has the superpower of limitless empathy. You said feminism and neoliberalism hate and loathe everything. Yep. They're just angry. You just need a peace pipe. Peace pipe. God damn it.
and go to clergy and say, hey, there's a problem, there's an issue, this and that. Why? Well, because
But yeah, isn't that a little funny while we're in this? Like, he's not Andrew Tate, but he's definitely in the same circles, right? And they're all like, the Matrix is doing this and the establishment that. And then you appeal to your own establishment that has its own litany of issues. Like, how's that any better? This is what I mean, that a lot of times Christians are can be just the inverse of the woke. So wow. On our poll, let's see if we can get a few more votes. Let's get a couple more votes before we
they can then go to clergy and say, hey, there's a problem, there's an issue, this and that. Why? Well, because it's unbecoming for women to be in spaces with men by themselves. Even now, you could easily make the argument that it's actually dangerous for women to approach in a vulnerable sense many men who are in positions of authority, absent their protector, in this case, their husband.
Right, but the argument should be that as we move towards a more equitable society, that shouldn't be the case. Protection of it shouldn't be the case that just by virtue of being a woman, you need a protector because other men can just, what's the implication of that? Lustful men might try to rape you, and well, if you don't have your protector there, like, that's not the society I want to live in, and I don't think that's the society that he wants to live in either. But now he is kind of in the position where he has to back it Otherwise, he loses the argument. Yeah, exactly. Equality. The church is just another establishment. Absolutely. Sippy said the problem with cops is you have a billion rules to enforce and have the upper end of minimum wage to enforce them. Something has to give. And yeah, I can see why cops turn into assholes. That doesn't make them not assholes. You know, I could get it. I would probably turn into a dick if I was I'd probably turn into a dick if I was a cop as well. But that's why I'm not going to be a cop.
That makes complete sense, Jeff.
I just asked you a yes or no question, and I got a 4-minute answer.
I gave you a yes with a qualifier.
That's true. He did say yes first.
So yes, and then I qualified the yes with the explanation.
The Bible does say that,
which can be annoying when people don't do that and they just ramble on to try to get to the end. Say, well, yes, qualified after. Fair enough.
So yes, and then I qualified the yes with the explanation.
The Bible does say that women should shut up in church. Yes.
It says that a woman should be silent, right? And if she wants to clarification or correction to go to her husband. So no, it says be silent. Yes, it tells them that they must be silent in church. So yes, and then the qualifier of why that is.
Well, he's trying to be like, yeah, well, you told women to shut up, and that's so mean. It's like, okay. And then Contact said a lesbian firefighter has to use tough language to mask her physical insecurity. Makes sense. Yep. Spot on, brother. Spot on.
Must be silent church. So yes, and then the qualifier of why that is.
Quality said the woman being silent part is wonderful.
What's wrong with that?
It said ask your husband at home.
Yeah, ask your husband at
church.
Right.
Yes
Well, now
or
we're
no?
talking about the ethics of the religion, though, whether it's okay for women to have to be quiet in church.
It matters.
There we go, Alex. Bring it back to is this true? Is this true? Do the claims of the religion map onto reality? Because sometimes it's a matter of opinion of whether you think you should, if you're a woman, if you should submit, or if you're a man and you should, if you're a man and you want to take church. That's all opinion. That has nothing to do with facts. It has to do with preference. Sippy said she's not short at least, but nearly wide as she is tall. Scary in the wrong way. The wrong way.
Because these are the things in which he considers to be truth claims of oppression, things like this. It does matter.
Nobody said anything about oppression.
I would like to try to talk
You
about
said it's oppressive to women.
No,
that was your whole argument, bro. That it's mean for women.
Didn't you said that
Multiple times.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Alex, am I
All I'm
crazy?
saying is,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said that it's oppressive to women.
Even if you didn't say the word oppressive, that's still your argument.
Well,
Alex, I thought this was a discussion, not a discourse from Andrew.
No, but and Andrew has been talking a lot, but I'm saying I do think that we're getting a little off the rails. But yes, Jeff was both. You guys kind of both agreed, because Andrew agreed and said there's a caveat that yes, they can't talk, and then you agreed that women are stronger and they have different roles. So we're kind of just at a standstill on whether you agree that the faith is nice to women, or Andrew says that So that's
Right.
not really debating.
Yeah, that's moot. That's moot. So should women be able to vote? 50% of you said yes, and 12% of you said only if they can be drafted. I honestly thought that would be the winning one, but I guess 37% of you are like, I don't give a fuck. Okay, so let's do this. One. I'll just I got this. I got it.
That the faith. I would like to talk more about the origins of Christianity and Constantine and the books of the Bible. I don't know, something a little more, not just how we feel about Christianity, whether it's wrong or good or bad, or whether he believes in a religion that you consider bad. Because I consider Christianity good, but that's not important. What I'm saying is, well, how can we prove that Christianity is true and real, that Christ existed? I
think that one of the primary claims needs to revolve around Jesus Christ and the existence of Jesus. This seems to be one of the pinnacle. This seems to be one of the pinnacle claims that Jeff makes, and I'm fine diving into this. I have no problem with that, but just understand that if there are, then this happens in all debates. If there's
I'm trying to think of a word and he's talking in my goddamn ear. Okay, hold on. If women were drafted, would it be legally ethical to
tangential complaints which happen, and in this case there is one, the Bible is oppressive or this or that, or there's other claims that Jeff has made about this, then yeah, if it's tangential to it but related to it, they're going to get brought up likely. So yes, I'm happy to dive into.
So, and again, halfway through 46 minutes in, I was like, oh yeah, I'm happy to dive into the topic that we came here to debate. And so far, Andrew is winning because he's dragged the conversation to where he wants the conversation, and he's winning the debate. But that's not getting any closer to answering the question, is Christianity true?
Jeff, why don't you tell the audience, right, what most biblical scholars' consensus is on it?
Before we go to that, I missed this from Equality and Deference. Said the thing that pisses me off the most about Christians is how much they ignore the rules concerning women's is in their own book. The draft thing wouldn't work. They would just get pregnant. I did not even think of that. They get pregnant and then abort. Yikes. Good call.
Tell the audience, right, what most biblical scholars' consensus is on if Jesus Christ was a living person or not.
Well, I'm not here to take orders from you, Andrew.
That's true.
To get back to where Alex was saying, let's talk about Christianity. Huh?
Okay.
Hey, shout out to Zippy, Emily with the Rumble Ran. Hold on, said only those in the army should vote. Hell no, I ain't fighting. Conscripted. If I can be called for the draft, then sure. But that's exactly what I'm saying here. I think it's wild to say that yes, you could be sent to another country to fight in a war, but you have no say in it. I think that's wild. That is wild. So we only have 2 votes. Is anybody gonna hit that shit? Let's go. And again, thank you for the Rumble rant. We do have the Swogo here on YouTube. But either way, very much appreciated.
That's true.
To get back to where Alex was saying, let's talk about Christianity. Okay. I'm just trying to keep score. So you're saying, if I understand correctly, that faith in the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, according to Romans 10:9 and 10, in your view, is not sufficient for salvation. Yes.
Yeah, I don't make the Eastern Orthodox don't make salvific claims. What I'm telling you is that the faith itself, right, is not saying that the determination of a simple mind state, the way you're framing it, I would say is false.
Okay.
That it is not a mind state itself. No.
Okay. So let's talk about Christianity. Is it true that you would believe that outside of your church there is no salvation?
No, I just got done telling you our church does not make salvific claims. So the way that we would view this, right? Again, I'm not a speaker for
all people fake Christians.
I'm going to tell you. Yeah, I'll explain. Okay, there are.
I'm with that. I think that's the only fair way.
Some people who can be so over the top about.
And again, just because we're drafting, if we were to draft women, doesn't mean that we're drafting women into combat roles. There's plenty of other things for women to do in the military. And for that matter, for people my size to do in the military, besides be in combat positions. Quality said, yes, still, because drafting them would be pointless and harmful. Okay, that wasn't the question, though. The question wasn't about the draft. That's already part of it. So they're already getting drafted. I'm not asking you about whether or not they should be drafted. So they're already getting drafted. Are you okay with withholding a vote to go and die for your country from somebody who does not have the choice to go to say no? I mean, that's pretty authoritarian. Zibby said, God talks to me, so I am Christian. Fight me. A lot of people are in that position, but according to Andrew Wilson, not good enough.
I'll explain. Okay. There are some people who can be so over the top about the things that they believe that it is obvious. It's just obvious to the beholder, regardless of denomination, regardless of anything, that they're not actually Christians. I don't even think that that's in dispute here. However, when we were talking about the Eastern Orthodox view of it, and again, I'm a layman, right? I don't have the authority of the church to. Okay,
we got somebody here making sense. Equality said, okay, if they were already actually fighting or just enrolled in the military, then yes, they should get to vote. And great question. Well, thank you, Equality. I appreciate that.
To teach, and I'm just giving you my understanding. Okay. From the layman's understanding, from my understanding, we're not to make salvific claims. The reason we're not to make salvific claims is because we don't know the mind of God. We're not going to be arrogant enough to know the mind of God. The way that the church explained it to me and the way that it explains it to, as far as I know, to everybody is that you can, some people have the truth is written on their heart, right? But you can't get the fullness of the truth absent the Orthodox Church. It's not to say people outside the Orthodox.
Pilates note. Pilates notes prove Jesus existed. Did they know?
Orthodox Church cannot receive salvation. We can't.
Zippy says many jobs in the army are tech and service jobs. Shipping things and food is in part done by personnel. So have the army do more things and have fewer contractors. Yo. Hey, yo. Now you're thinking. That is fucking brilliant. That's fucking brilliant. So we, everybody is needs to do 2 years of service, men and women. But because of that, then we can offload more of the stuff to the military. And because, again, everybody is going to eventually be part of the military, then there's not necessarily well, I guess then the bias would be putting things into the government's hands, because the military is the government. But very smart. Very, very smart. Quality said agreed concerning less contractors. That part, yeah, that part's very good. At the end of the day, that means putting more in the hands of the government. But I like the notion. I like the notion.
The Orthodox Church. It's not to say people outside the Orthodox Church.
Does anybody know who that is? Scott Starboard?
Truth absent.
This guy Scott Starboard, or is he just
the Orthodox Church? It's not to say people outside the Orthodox Church cannot receive salvation. We can't make those claims. Just to say that absent the fullness, the likelihood of it decreases.
So according to the Eastern Orthodox Church, nobody is saying that I couldn't be saved in my current form. Is that what he's saying? That in the Eastern Orthodox Church, we don't claim to know what's in God's mind. So it may very well be that if you're just a good person and you believe in God and you have a relationship with Jesus, that maybe you're saved. I thought you said you didn't make salvakic. What is the word? No.
The Orthodox Church. It's not to say people outside the Orthodox Church cannot receive salvation. We can't make those claims. Just to say that absent the fullness, the likelihood of it decreases.
God damn it. Give me
those claims. The way that the church explained it to me and the way that it explains it to, as far as I know, to everybody, is that you can, some people have the truth is written on their heart, right? But you can't get the fullness of the truth absent the Orthodox Church. It's not to say people outside the Orthodox Church cannot receive salvation. We can't make those claims. Just
you can't get, so I can get salvation, just not full, which is what? I can't even fucking read that shit. What? Salvific. All right, there we go. Thank you. Yes. He sounds brainwashed. That's because he is. Oh, wait, you got that already.
To say that absent the fullness, the likelihood of it decreases.
Well, can you explain to me then why in the Jerusalem Council of 1672, they clearly stated that it is impossible to be saved outside of the Orthodox Church?
Yeah. So the thing is,
they said that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I just agree with the people who do and make it my entire life and how we should live. Carl, so why are so many atheists, so many atheists and anti-religious people angry? I think it's because of leftism. I think it has way more to do with the lack of that which religion can bring. My contention is that you don't need religion in order to get there. You don't need religion in order to have these ideas. But if you and have a moral structure, but if you build society around the idea that there is only one way to live, then the people who aren't living that way are unlikely to find their own way. There's a few of us. We're making it, but there's no guidebook, there's no rule book, and people are fucking stupid. So, I mean, what do you expect? What do you expect? And for the 7 millionth time, they're not going away. They're only growing in we are only growing in number. And so the question is, do you want to be, do you want to be part of the shrinking group that you claim that has the right answers? Or do you want to share the ability to improve society with people who believe different things than you. Shout out to Dan G. Welcome to the party. Said, true, but among the religious, there are more morals and more moral people. But I agree that one doesn't have to be religious to be moral. Among the non-religious, there are more immoral people, though. Agreed. But my contention is not that this is inherent. People argue as if this is an inherent causal factor. That, because you have God, you're a moral person. Because you don't have God, you're an immoral person. That's not how it works. Otherwise, jails would just be filled with atheists. And they're not. Dan said choices are the casual factor. Can you say more on that? What exactly do you mean? But yeah, I completely agree with. And welcome to the party. Equality said, Dan G, the vast majority of people in prison are religious, not atheists. Beat you to it, Equality. Beat you to it. Yeah, and so exactly. It's not a causal factor. That means that there's something else. There's something else. And it's the moral structure. It's not belief in God. It's not belief in Jesus. Not belief in that or that or that or that. It's having principles. Sticking to those principles and having a reason to stick to those principles. That's it.
Outside of the Orthodox Church.
Yeah. So the thing is like, it depends on when you're talking about these councils. Okay. And I'm not an expert on every single council which has ever occurred. Okay.
Oh, really? You're not? You could have fooled me.
There's only 7 of them.
I'm not a bit. Yeah, that's a lot, dude. Okay. First of all, that's a lot. And second of all, I'm not a scholar on each and every individual decree or things like that.
What? Really?
For things like that, you'd want a person who was more of a scholar like Jay Dyer to dive in to the hyper.
Jay Dyer's been
hang on, bro. Just chill out. For the
see, again, look, this is just conversation. We're going back and forth and we're interrupting it. And then as soon as you bring up somebody, he's like, nope, that guy has been, I don't know what he was trying to say, but debunked or whatever. Wait. I need silence. Okay, I'm the BLOODSPORT debater. But if you're talking, then I can't talk and I need to make my point. Well, almost, right? Equality said a rare moment of humility from Andrew until it wasn't. But we did, yeah, for a second, we had it there, right? For a second, he had it. Good job, Andrew.
And to the hyper. Hang on, bro. Just chill out. For the
is Equality the only one who said my mockery is hilarious? Oh, you mocking me?
I'm here, Jay Dyer. Come
for the hyper specificity.
Wait, let's get that in its full context.
For things like that. For things like that, you'd want a person who was more of a scholar like Jay Dyer to dive in to the hyper.
Jay Dyer's been hang on, bro.
Just chill out.
He's run on to
the hyper.
Jay Dyer's been
hang on, bro. Just
running from me. He's been running from me for 10 years.
Chill out. For the hyper.
I'm here, Jay Dyer. Come
for the hyper.
All right, let's see Jeff Daugherty and Jay Dyer next.
For the hyper specificity, right, of the
not the hyper specification
claims of the various councils, there's other people who would be better at addressing those than myself.
So why does that mean that it's true? Oh, you're not talking about that because you can't.
Andrew, I think you're being dishonest. I think you know damn good and well that your church believes that you can't get saved unless you belong to your church. I think you know it and you won't say it.
Well, I think Andrew's being honest.
Listen,
man, they don't
listen, nobody would be happier to tell you, Jeff, that you're going straight to hell right this second than me. I would love to do that.
No, the thing I love about your church
is you hate him that much, Andrew. Time out. You don't want him to go to hell. You know.
Well, I don't mind their hell. Their hell just says that you'll be separated from God, and there's nothing I'd love more than separation from the Bible God, Alex Stein. I'd love it.
And so that is where this leftist, I mean, I want to call him a leftist, but the ideation of everything God, everything religion is bad. Oh, I want to be separated from God. Yeah, that's bad. That's base to be separated from God. Like, no, it's not. What's based is fucking having the truth and understanding where you don't have the truth so that you can find the truth. both of you should suck my brown dick with this shit.
But my
We are
question,
going to hell.
if you're teaching,
Well, no, I want to address this. I want to address this.
Let me
actually,
ask
Jeff.
Wow, only four authoritarians in the chat, but all 4 authoritarians.
one
This
thing,
is-
Alex.
no, no,
one
no,
thing.
Insane.
Well,
Let him ask. Let him ask.
Okay, all right.
Because Andrew brought up hell.
Yeah.
And in the East,
It's surprising that equality and deference is the only person who's not an authoritarian here. That says if you are conscripted to war, then you should have a vote. Equality and deference said he said the Bible God specifically, who is a psychopath. Well, I do believe that as well. If Yahweh exists as is in the Bible, I think it's rather psychotic. But that because of the fact that the omniscient God doesn't suffer from the modernized fallacy that Andrew brought up before. So the Bible itself can be written in the context of the time, but God is omnipresent. So he would know that, be like, oh, in 2025, they're not going to like that. And a bunch of people are going to turn away from me who are otherwise good people because of this. Not smart.
Eastern Orthodox definition of hell is separation from God.
Yeah.
How can you be
Well, it's
separated-
separation from the energies of God.
How can you be separated from an omnipresent God?
I like that. I like that a lot. How can you be separated from an omnipresent God? That don't make no sense.
Separation from the energies of God.
How can you be separated from an omnipresent God?
What do you mean?
Well, they're
If he's everywhere, then you can't be separated. Yeah, oh shit, shots fired.
could be a zone of
How
that.
can you be separated by an omnipresent
Yeah.
God?
Do you understand that there's an energy and essence distinction?
No, what does that mean? Well, there's an energy and there's an essence. No, I don't know that. So please explain.
By an omnipresent
Yeah.
God.
Do you understand that there's an energy and essence distinction? So right now,
Let's say I don't. Let's say, because again, that would be a good opportunity to be like, okay, let's say I don't. Let's say I don't. Explain to me why God is everywhere and every time and every place and everything, except that you could be separated.
I feel like Jeff. That now we're getting in the woods.
I'm trying to explain it to you.
Get in the woods? You mean getting in the weeds, Alex?
I'll explain it
Well,
to
I'm
you.
on your side, Andrew. I think
Yeah,
even if
there's
you're
a-
omnipresent, there can be a region that you don't go to, maybe on purpose. He chooses not. I mean, I think
No.
I don't know what Andrew's
The
gonna say.
person chooses.
Come on. Cope harder. Well, God is everywhere except for the spot that he doesn't want to be because that's convenient for my argument. Come on. Yep, quality called it. Here comes the Flapdoodle and Tommy Rod.
Region that you don't go to, maybe on purpose. He chooses not. I mean, I
No,
think
no.
I don't know what Andrew's
The
gonna
person chooses. The person is choosing to separate themselves from the energies of God. The person is.
What are the energies of God?
Okay,
Well,
I
wanna-
can take that.
But Jeff, I want to go this because I want to go to this point because this was a pretty bold statement, and you kind of, just nobody really gave any rebuttal. Andrew,
Okay.
you accused Jeffrey of being anti-Christian because he's anti-Semitic, and you didn't say it in that terms, but you did insinuate that. So, are you,
No,
Jeff?
I mean, look, I'm not
It-
here.
Oh wait, that is a leftist thing now. That to be hating the Jews. That's a okay.
Listen. I'm not here to be like
That's the leftists and the woke right are like the Jews.
to get off into the like Duisburg territory.
Yeah,
or
I don't want
anything
to
like
because we can't.
But what-
We can't on
what-
YouTube.
But you said it. You
that.
threw
What
it
I've
out there.
noted. What I've noted
You
is
make
that
a claim against
yeah.
it. Now you want
what
to
I've noted.
Exactly, right? Equality said, and who the fuck would pick separation from God? I mean, other than him. But, again, it creates the divine hiddenness argument. That if Jeff is like, yeah, separation from God, that's not me. That's not me at all. I'm crying out, God, please show yourself to me. I want to be saved. I want to be to whatever it is. And nothing. How is that my fault? Sounds like God doesn't know how to do it.
What I've noted
You
is
make
that
a claim against
yeah.
it. Now you want
what
to
I've noted. I'm not back
about Maury, guys. I know he's not over here in Cuba, but he's still cute and still hungry.
away. Jeff,
Called
I'm not
me
gonna,
an anti-Semite.
Jeff,
We're
I'm
on
not backing
YouTube,
away.
Jeff.
Well,
Look, you know we're on
Yeah,
YouTube.
I'm not backing
so
away
we
from
need
it,
to be very
Jeff.
Careful, Jeff.
Sounds
when
like
we
you
say
are.
anything.
I'm just trying to keep it TOS. Drop it to Rumble. I'll tell you exactly what I
That's
think.
what I'm saying,
Well, the
Jeff.
thing
You
is-
know we have to be kind of
Yeah,
cool.
the thing
in
is-
terms of
Absolutely, I
service.
understand.
It's like here, I'll make it super easy for you, Jeff. Okay. I think
Thank you,
that
Greg.
the reason that you hate Christianity is because, like Adam Green, you believe it's a Jewish conspiracy in order to oppress white people.
Uh,
I mean, it is a conspiracy in order to oppress white people, but well, I mean, not specifically white people and not Jewish, but absolutely, yeah, okay.
Because, like Adam Green, you believe it's a Jewish conspiracy in order to oppress white people.
In other
And
words,
that-
I don't
hang
hate.
on, bro.
Yeah, Quality said, bingo. If God is limitless, has limitless awesomeness and love, all sane people would desire him. Why don't they?
Can I finish?
Well,
you just
make-
said, Andrew, you got to back away from the claim. You
let's
want to
do
let me
it.
make the claim.
I don't
you,
hate
you need to take over. You're gonna be able to talk after this because
Okay.
Jeff, you keep asking questions. That's why Andrew's talking so much. So maybe less questions and more of your opinion. But Andrew, please state what you want to state.
Yeah, I'm literally giving
Give him a little spanking there.
you your chance for cross-examination. You cut me off every time I try to start to give you the answer. So
I'll
I
make it
think-
to Andrew, let's both.
Yeah.
knock
right
it
there,
out.
you cut him
How
off
about
again.
that? How about that?
cut
How
him
many
off
times did he cut me off?
Well, I
Oh my God. Are we? Is this what we're doing? Well, you did it first.
no, but I don't want to have to mute, guys. Let's just
I
be
won't
cool.
do
We
it
don't have
anymore.
we don't have much time left. We only
all
have
right,
about,
deal. We just
little
won't cut
over
each
10
other
minutes.
off for the rest of the debate. How about that? All right. So anyway, so back to this. I'll just tell you what I think.
Okay.
Based on what I've watched of even your recent content, even going back just 4 months ago to your top 10 reasons I don't believe in Jesus. You outline in that there is a Jewish conspiracy. The Jewish conspiracy is designed specifically to eradicate white people. That is what you believe.
No, it's not what I believe.
Okay. Well,
Convenient. Convenient for Andrew that's so just I don't know. That.
then can
No,
you
that's not it.
explain what you meant when you say white meat and these people are trying to completely destroy white meat? And then I can give you the timestamp. In
No,
fact,
you
I'm
didn't
going
listen
to.
very actively.
I'm going to give you the timestamps. Hang on, let me give.
So before he was Jeff was cherry picking the Bible. Now either Andrew is doing one hell of a quote mine, or Jeffy is just what we thought he was.
Give you the
You
timestamp.
didn't listen well, Andrew.
43-minute mark. Thank God we saved the white race, says Jeff Daugherty. Okay, 43-minute mark of your top 10 reasons why you don't like Christianity. I made sure to mark this, Jeff. 43 minutes. Anybody can go look. Thank God we saved the white race, says Jeff. And Jeff says, thank God for us because we saved it, and thank God for some of our collaborators because we saved it. You literally thank yourself for saving the white race, Jeff. I don't know how you walk away from that one.
All right, let's hold. Let him explain, and then have our opinion.
Appreciate you, Jeff, for saving us. Thank you.
Number one, that's not what I said. And what I said was that I'm white. I don't know if you notice. I love my race. And I don't know if you notice, Coke is saying be less white. DEI's crushing white people. You can't get hired as a firefighter
It's hard to get a read on this, dude.
if you're white. I don't have to go into this. I love my race. I love the white race. I'm here to optimize my race. I also love the black race, the brown race, the yellow race, the red race. I don't think Christianity is a
Love and race. Just not talking about it. You know what I mean?
religion for any of those people. And I'm encouraging people to go back to their indigenous gods and to walk away from the Judeo-Christian God, because he's not the God of the white man, the black man, the brown man, the yellow man, or the red man. And if my work can help some people realize that, then all of the individual races can be optimized, which will optimize the whole human race.
This
That's
is great. I'm glad to get into this. So the idea
So I mean, it doesn't sound like the same type of like white nationalist thing that he is implying. That doesn't sound like what Jeff just said.
here of all of Western and Eastern Europe, right? How long has it been under the dominion of the non-pagan gods? It's been under the dominion for 2,000 years. I mean, it's literally, and by the way, it's going to be under the dominion for 1,000 more years. Christianity is the white man's religion, whether you like it or
No,
not. And it has been, yeah, it has been for a long
No.
time. And the pagan Nordic religions are dead. They don't pass muster. And why would you want them to? Why would you want people to go back and worship Loki, turn into a horse and fuck another horse, Jeff?
Who said? Oh, I guess he did say that. But again, why would we want? I agree. Why would you want to go back? Why would you not want to use all the information that we have from whatever you can learn from Loki fucking horror? I don't know what the fuck is good with that, but whatever you can, there's some reason for it. Whatever the theme is there, or we just throw it out if we don't need it. But you take the themes of that, you take the themes of Judaism, you take the themes of Christianity, you take the themes of Islam, and the ones that are good, you keep them. The ones that are stupid, you throw them the fuck away, and you go on living your fucking life. Instead of arguing about who's right about it. You both agree, by and large, how society should go, but you're arguing about who said it should go that way. Stupid. It's retarded. It's the most retarded thing ever. Guys, we are about to cross the 2-hour mark. If you'd like to keep the party raging, you know how to do it.
And turned it.
Yeah, right. Well, like I said, my superstitions are better than your superstitions. That's what we're talking
about. A trans person in order to have sex with men. Why would you want them to go worship those gods? How's that helpful to the white race?
First of all,
oh, we got a hungry dance. We got a hungry dance. Do not let that man go hungry, please.
As I have a minor degree in anthropology, and human culture with the ability, the sophistication to support religious thought, it's been around for about 50,000 years, give or take. Christianity at best has been around for 2,000 years. So for 48,000 years, heathens built great civilizations, built great culture, gave great literature, gave great medicine, gave great moral thoughts and doctrines.
Which ones?
Well, but there were smart people before.
No, here's the thing. Here's the actual truth. And Mr. Anthropologist
interrupted me.
Mr. Anthropologist,
you did interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead, finish, Jeff. Go ahead.
Now I forgot what I was saying.
And he lost his.
I don't know. Andrew was bringing up that in Loki they were fucking. I don't know. I don't know. But either way, I agree that we should not be going backwards. What my point was, if there was something in that story that can apply to our modern society, then let's use it. If not, then let's not. I don't understand why it needs to be more difficult than that. I don't understand why it needs to be more complicated than that. Does it work? Do it. Does it not work? Don't do it.
I thought you were talking about.
You were saying great morals. They gave us great morals, great civilizations. That's where
they probably had some okay morals. I mean, there's
no. Here's the actual truth. And answer.
Can I finish my statement?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
In Rome, ruled the entire world for over 1,000 years, and we had Pax Romana, a peaceful world. It wasn't until Christianity reared its ugly head in the Roman Empire, and then the Roman army marched out and systematically, ethnically cleansed and genocided every single pagan population with the Roman short sword. Either you convert or you die.
Yep.
Yeah,
Zippy said God came to man before Christianity. Who? The Greek, the Romans, the Chinese dynasties, the Mayans. Every society ever has had some type of God myth. I personally believe that we are in the position to move beyond that. But I don't have a fully fleshed out answer for you. I am just one man. What I can do is sit at a table with a bunch of other people who are smarter than me and have different perspectives than me and are Christian and can talk about why the values that they hold are important and how that should be imparted on society. And then we just do it. We just do it. Colony Deverton said, hey, my religion that commands cannibalism and ritual attendance or hell is like totally better than those crazy pagans. That's the argument. Good job. Yeah, that is a great summary of what's happening here.
Either you convert or you die. What a religion. You got to threaten people with death to get them. And listen, when I started my work 15 years ago, over 70% of people in America said that they were Christian. Now, less than 50 do. I won't take credit for all of it, but I'm taking credit for some of it. Now, 40% of them are these radical Christian nationalists, radical Christian identities. And if you think pagans are gone, baby, and you want to battle with us, you better be careful what you ask for.
Okay, well, I'm asking for it, Jeff, so let's get into this. So first of all, when you're talking about paganism, paganism was so great. The people were crucifying everybody. Oh, they were fantastic. They would murder children.
Wait. Andrew, are we establishing crucifixions as a bad thing? Is that what? Okay.
They give a shit, Jeff. They didn't care. It's in their literature. When you're talking about Rome had upheaval after upheaval after upheaval all the time. It was inconsistent upheaval like most of the ancient world. Also, as an anthropologist, you should know, written history only started about 10,000 years ago. We don't really have anything from before that. We have light anthropological evidence of some civilizations. We don't even know how advanced they were.
Therefore, believe in my God. That's not how logic works, bro.
I have no clue, right? Written history didn't even start
Thank you, Equality. You have a good one.
until 10,000 years ago. Most of the civilizations from pagans, we don't even know what they believe, Jeff. Why don't you tell people that? How it is that we didn't really even know. Like 10,000 years ago, you don't even know what people were worshiping. You have no clue. And especially depending on region and demographic, you especially have no clue. So what happens here is this, is that the
So that makes Christianity true.
few remnants which have remained after the burning of the library at Alexandria, there's
By
not
Christians.
that much. Okay, there's not that much. No, not by Christians.
Yes,
Okay, so listen, after the burning of the library at
Yes, Christians
Alexandria,
didn't kill
there's not,
Hypatia either.
there's not much. Okay, there was not much left as far as the barbarian records. Now, we don't even know how much was actually, stop, we don't even know how much was actually there. This is all speculation. So like, for instance, if I asked you, what did they worship in ancient China 9,500 years ago in, the Sun Providence? You couldn't tell me that shit because
Okay, you couldn't tell that exactly what it was, but some type of god myth is what they worshipped. That's I mean, unless they were the only human civilization not to have one, then something that they would call what you would call God. As it be said, also the new Holy Roman Empire was a trip. Spanish Inquisition could learn a thing or two. This must be, I think, I'll just let that speak for itself.
because we don't know, Jeff.
I don't care. I'm not from there. But it's funny that the Library of Alexandria
See, that was a missed opportunity, man. I don't know, but it clearly would have been something akin to a god.
contained all of this. Funny that the Library of Alexandria contained all of the great records of all of the great pagan civilizations. And right after they freaking killed Hypatia like a bunch of animals, then they went and burned down the library. What a coincidence. They burned down the library of all our stuff. And now you say we're not around anymore because you killed us. And those atrocities you talk about, they were written by Christian people about our people, and they're not only lies, but damn lies.
Yeah, okay, Jeff.
Why?
So the thing is like, this is great speculation, but you don't have the requisite knowledge to make these bold claims about which gods people should even go back to.
And there we go. There we go. Which god? You are presupposing that a god is necessary. That is a presupposition, as it is known in debate bro world. You are presupposing that a god is needed. My contention is that one is not. And the contention of the debate that you're in, although not well supported by the guy you're debating, should be pushing you on that.
Because we don't really know that much. In fact, the Bible is one of the better sources for how pagans used to worship. That's a pretty good source for
Okay, I was gonna say.
that. You know what's
So
not
our
great?
enemies give a good
You know
source.
what's not. Well, it's better. What are your sources, Jeff? Like ancient fragments that you're speculating
Well,
on?
we have,
Like
like,
the oldest thing you can,
pyramids.
the oldest thing you
I'm
have.
not gonna
We don't even
argue-
know what the pyramids were. We don't even know.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, Andrew, I think we can agree that they weren't as dumb. Like, modern day, they want to say the civilizations before us were just idiots and, lived out in a cave. I think they were a little more advanced than we give them credit
Wait, no,
for. You know
Andrew
what I'm
just
saying?
asked me, how do I know?
Yeah. How do you know?
Well,
How do you know that Christianity is true? That's what we're here for, guys. That's what we're here for.
here's the big difference between me and you, Andrew, I think. You believe in revelatory knowledge, church tradition of the fathers. Why you call people father when Jesus said, don't call anybody on earth your father. But we don't believe in revelational knowledge. We believe our gods are way bigger than a book. We don't listen to men in dresses to tell us what to believe. We look into our own hearts. We look into our own souls. We listen.
But that's not quite like, yes, we look within ourselves and our own hearts and our own souls. But that's a problem. That's a problem. Because while you, Jeff, or me, Lutch, might be able to look into my heart and listen to my soul and be a good person, that is not enough for society at scale. That is not enough. We need a structure that is structured. It can't be just, well, I feel it and I just go by my truth. That clearly isn't working. As we said, Jeff sounds like a proper Protestant. No, I mean, when the shoe fits.
If we look into our own hearts, we look into our own souls, we listen for the call of the blood, and we get our
The call of the blood? Yeah. I'm not with that. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. The call of the blood. Nope. I honestly, I would be closer to scientism than whatever the call of the blood is. So, Zippy said Protestantism is decentralized Christianity. Makes sense. Just basically do whatever. Do whatever. Well, but that's what Jeff is talking about. He's saying the pagans follow the call of the blood.
Call of the blood. And we get our gods.
I want to see what the chat has to say about that. Let's see where the chat is. Oh, we'll just leave it there.
And we get our gods.
You listen to the call of the blood, Jeff?
Okay, well, let him finish.
You know
Andrew, let him finish.
You guys,
I know,
could you listen to
all
the
right.
call of the blood?
You see what he does?
Hey, I
He
know.
won't let me
that is
finish
fair.
because
Okay,
he
finish,
knows
you
I'm
finish.
back, because he
You're
knows I'm
right.
laying
No,
down.
finish, bro.
mocking-
Finish.
Let's see. Base, there's eight-sided pyramid. Sounds like it's close to God. The Bible was written by men. How many people is he? Good question. Bro's getting absolutely cooked. No, really. I thought that would get a little bit more.
Finish.
Mocking him, Andrew.
Vampire.
Okay, that was really funny, though. The call of the blood was
But yeah,
funny.
he's got
Those Pat Benatar lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
style and pizzazz. We're only so lucky that he's has some
Okay,
style.
All right. Germanic Norse isn't dead. It shows and warns us about the fight you guys are debating. Who or what do you actually worship, and what are the effects of it? Folklore and fairy tales aren't just tales. Right, they're fairy tales. I don't know. I kind of expected a lot more like, what? Oh my god, this guy's so weird. He's an occultist. That's what I expected from that. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you.
I just thought that was funny. Go ahead, Jeff.
You have to
I mean, I said shit. Me too.
go to the pages of a dusty book written by 66 people that happen to be Jewish, by the way. You have to listen.
That is true, though.
Is that a problem, Jeff?
Oh, it was written by Jewish people. But go ahead.
You have to listen to men in dresses. We go straight
Right on.
to the source. That's
Which
the
is
Okay, and what's the source?
which is the call of the blood. What is the call of the blood, Jeff?
well, if
Please.
you ever felt it, brother, you'd know it.
That doesn't answer my question. What is
That was the gayest thing How are you here saying, "Oh, Christianity, yeah, this is ridiculous," but the call of the blood, you know when you feel it.
What?
Who? What are we doing? What are we doing here?
what is it?
Also,
What's the
I have
Holy
to answer your
Ghost, or what-
question.
I've been answering your
I'll be glad
questions.
to help. I'll be glad to
In fact,
help.
yeah, I've been
Call of the
answering.
blood. Well, you know, the Bible does, even though it's a, I kind of agree with the Orthodox that lay people shouldn't read the Bible, that you should have a little bit of knowledge before you start reading it, because the Bible is very, very tricky. It's actually a book that's full of disclosure that tells us what they're doing to us. And once you get to a place of maturity, you can read it. So here's what
Oh, the call of the blood is.
it is. You know how the Bible says the life is in the blood? That's kind of what the call of the blood is. It's about you knowing that you've been communicated with by the Most High.
You're an empiricist. So how do you know that you've been communicated with by the Most High? How do you know it wasn't a delusion? How do you know it wasn't just some fucking? How do you know you're not schizophrenic? How? Who is this guy? Who is this guy?
that you've been communicated with by the Most High. You've been communicated with by a deity, and
So
we know.
revelation?
Yeah, revelation, as he just was making fun of.
Will you please let me finish?
It's just revelation, right?
No, it's not revelation. It's
Yes, it is revelation. That is definitionally what revelation means.
the
Oh.
opposite of revelation. It's realization. It's our gods and the Most High God talking to us individually, and it's the call of the blood. It's like, what's chocolate?
That's revelation.
Well, you don't know it until you taste it, Andrew, and that's the call of the blood.
No, you could. I mean, you take cacao and then you add some milk and sugar, and that's chocolate. Can you do that for the call of the blood? If not, then why the fuck are you publicly talking about it as if it's an empirical fact? This is why atheists are doing so bad in the world right now. How do I get my ideas infiltrated into this stuff? As if they're wrong, great. They get shut down, and I can go on and figure out that was wrong. Okay, now I'm doing this. But I just don't think I am.
You knowing that divinity has talked to you, and you don't have to go through
How?
any priest. You don't have to ask Mary.
How?
You just go straight to the source.
How? How do you know what the source is and how you've been to the source and what the communication is? How?
Really weird, Jeff. It sounds
Agreed. It is really weird.
a lot like divine revelation that you're just calling something about the blood. Oh, my blood lets me communicate. It's a DNA sequence in my body that allows God to beam direct thoughts into my brain. I communicate with him. Oh, gee, Jeff, like divine revelation, Jeff?
Yep.
Really? That's why. So hang on. Here's the thing. That's fair. We could just say that Jeff has his own version of pagan divine revelation. If that's the case, though, how in the world can you ever negate anybody else's divine revelation when they say God has spoken to them? And
Exactly. Both of you are just saying, nuh-uh, the message that I think that I got is right. Nuh-uh, the message that I think that I got is right. It's pathetic. Both these guys are dickbags.
and the God that has spoken to them is the Almighty God, the same one that the Jews worship and that Jesus Christ is. If they make that claim, how can you refute it? Except if they say that's the call in their blood. Like, how can you refute that?
No,
You can't, bro. You can't. It's dogmatic. So again, we come back to a place where religion and dogma aren't necessarily the same thing, but they cause the same issues. How do you know what that is? How can you verify to me that you've experienced the call of the blood? Or how can you explain to me that I would know? Because you use the example of chocolate. But if you were just feeding, if I was just feeding you these things, Morty's treats that nobody is giving him because you all hate him so much. If I'm just, I'm in Hell's Kitchen doing the fucking taste test challenge, I could have tasted chocolate, not known it was chocolate, and then go on with my life. And somebody said, "Have you ever tasted chocolate?" And I would say no, and I would be wrong. So how do you know that what you actually experienced was the color of the blood? Which is the same question. How do you know that anything that you're fucking saying, Andrew, is true? I don't know why this guy was picked.
Now, I'm going to answer it briefly, but I got more to say, so don't jump in.
All right.
That's a great question. Why, number one, why do you feel the need to mock my faith?
Because it's stupid.
Number two, why would I feel the need to question anybody else's faith? See,
Because faith informs actions. And actions affect other people. So what you believe doesn't just exist in a bubble. It informs your decisions and how you treat other people.
it wasn't until Christianity came along where this thing of proselytizing started and my God's better than your God.
That's literally your argument, dude. That's literally your argument.
I don't care who people worship. I don't care about their religion. It's just like homosexuality. If you're gay and you're gay inside your house, I don't mind. It's bad for civilization. It doesn't help us procreate. But I'm not going to make a law against gay people. But if you're walking down Main Street with assless chaps and a hard-on in front of children, then I have a problem with it. So we don't care about other people's gods. We would coexist with the Christians.
Jeff, you got to stop using this word "we." I mean, I get that you're talking about pagans, and maybe pagans in general agree with you, but the non-believer here, I don't claim this motherfucker.
If we could, but we can't because you want to kill us because we don't believe in your God.
Yeah, there's a problem, though. You have a huge problem with this. So
What's
if
that?
the idea is, Jeff says, yeah, we believe in divine revelation just like you, the call of the
No, I
blood.
didn't say that.
Okay, just for the sake of argument, you said, even if it were the case, right, that I don't care what anybody's religion is. It's a great question, Andrew, that you're asking about divine revelation here. Here's the thing. Whatever the call of the blood is, I'll call it divine revelation for the sake of the argument here.
Okay.
Okay?
That's
Divine
fair.
revelation.
So there you see an example of something I talk about a lot, where you give a concession because it doesn't matter. So Andrew is right in saying that it's not divine revelation. It's whatever. He's just giving that away because that doesn't matter to his point. Whatever his point that he's about to say, whether it's divine revelation or whether it's whatever the call of the blood, whatever point is still going to apply. assumingly. That's why you would set it up this way.
Just I'll call it divine revelation for the sake of the argument here.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
Divine
fair.
revelation from Jeff's into Jeff's
That's fair. That's fair. We can just call it a different thing that it totally is not, but it is, but it's not. But it's okay to talk about it in this conversation because reasons.
brain from whatever Jeff's God is. He says that's fine. All right. It's the Christians who want to oppress the other religions. And otherwise we would just have like this live and let live, bruh,
Thank you for
policy.
stating that. Very well
But
stated.
you have a problem here with that, Jeff, which is that all of society is downstream of ethics, and ethics is informed by religion. So religion informs society, society informs.
Not necessarily. I mean, yes, if you are religious, then you derive your it is by informed by religion. But I don't have a religion, and so that is not the case. What are you saying?
Ethics, and ethics is informed by religion.
Yeah, ethics can be informed by many things, many different philosophies. Religion is one of them, but there's a lot of them.
So religion informs society. So
Again, we're talking about Christianity, and is it true?
stream of ethics, and ethics is informed by religion. So religion informs society, society informs the political class, meaning that the ethical framework of which your society operates.
Guys, if we can get a, let's say, if we can get $10, I'll give Morty his peanut butter treat.
Based around your religion is going to be a determining factor, which means it makes it people's
That's
business.
$2 each.
It
You
makes
got
it
five
our
people here,
business and your
$2. You got
business
it. Let's go.
if there's Muslim terrorists, yeah. It makes it your business if there's AIPAC who's trying to influence through their religious dogma our politicians, Jeff.
Absolutely.
It is our business.
Which was clearly the case. As even people, I don't want to say left, but people in the mainstream left-wing media are like, wow, Trump really did get this ceasefire and get our hostages back. The deal was on the table forever, and Biden refused. I wonder why.
Business. Now, Christian ethics, I'm going to argue, is a fine and far superior form of ethical framework than any other which exists on planet Earth. And that
And again, that is my issue. How do you know? Like, let's say it's better than anything that I'll use the exact
superior
word.
form of ethical
It's let's say it is.
framework than
It's a far superior form of
Any other
ethical
which
framework than any other which exists. Okay, what about that which does not yet exist? We are not at the end of history, bro. There's still more. So you're assuming that because this is that's like I had an analogy for this. So like let's say that we want to go on a let's say we want to go on a road trip, right? And you're telling me, the highways you could go the fastest on the highways. So let's just take the highway all the way there. And I'm like, well, wait. I mean, let's check the map and see if there's any back roads. And you're like, which back roads? I don't know yet, dude. I didn't look at the map yet. But I'm saying let's sit down and look and see if what you have can be improved upon. Nuh-uh, this is the best way to go. How do you know that? Because of divine revelation.
What?
That's not a way to think. That's stupid. I don't know how else to put it. It's stupid. It's very just dumb to think that way. And I mean, I don't have anything against you if you do, but it's not smart. Think about that actual example. Let's say that you knew some great back roads to go on this road trip that we wanted. But you didn't know the names. You're like, I know it's over here. Like once you get after, it's like something after exit 12 and you just go around and you can skip that whole thing. And nuh-uh. If you can't tell me which roads, then it's not a better path. Is that a smart way to think? Yes or no?
Exist on planet Earth, and that you in modernity have stolen it and apply it in a way that it should never be applied to pagan ethics. It doesn't even make sense. Pagans did blood sacrifice all the time.
No,
They did all. Yeah, they did.
No.
In fact,
So did Christians. Get the fuck over yourself.
fact, they did it with bones. They did it with all sorts of different things. And the historic record has
bones
great.
you guys chop up and
has
send to your
great.
churches.
No, we never did bones. We never said no.
People get cremated today. What are we talking about? What are we fucking talking about?
Jews didn't sacrifice the
So your
bones.
churches don't have bone relics.
They didn't. No, bone relics is different than sacrifice. Pay
Oh,
attention.
really?
Talking about sacrifice here.
Okay.
No,
Is it though?
the Jews didn't sacrifice the bones. The pagans did. Okay, they sacrificed the bones. They burned the
Really?
bones to their gods. Yes, that's what they were talking about in
If
Levitical
we
law.
can just do a biblical based thing, I can show you where the Jews sacrifice. And I agree with you, Andrew. But the problem here is that Christians won't just live and let live. I got invited to speak at a like America First rally. Stu Peters was there. I spoke, and then Stu Peters gets up on the platform. There's about 400 people there. About 50 of us weren't Christians. If you don't believe in Jesus, you can go straight to hell.
Is that a way to move a political goal? Is that a way to get people on your team? Obviously not. Obviously not. But because I don't have all of the answers already, you're just going to assume you're right. All right, dude.
I tried to work with Christians, but if we don't worship Jesus, you don't work with us. And if we tried to go into battle with you, you'd shoot us in the back.
Obviously. Not everyone. But it is a strong pattern.
And it's really that's true. And I'm gonna give you some leeway here, but let me explain why that's true.
Okay.
And
Because we're better. We have the answers.
I think you're gonna have to agree with me here.
It's
we have
possible.
different sets of ethical frameworks.
I wish you could convert me, and then I could get back to making
we have a different set of ethical frameworks. Okay, I'll give you the same argument I gave to Adam Green. Okay, and I want an actual answer to it. Green couldn't give me one. But perhaps you can.
I will.
Let us pretend for a moment that society and Christian ethics disappeared. What ethical framework would you put in place in lieu of Christianity, which would be superior?
False dichotomy. We didn't make it yet. We did. What would you say to the Jews? If you had a time machine, you could say to all the Jewish people who were following Jesus Christ, how could you tell them that was a new thing at the time? That was new. There was no Christianity. How can you say, so then again, it must come back to Christianity is the best that humanity can do for all time. For all time. In 1,000 years, in 10,000 years, if humanity is still here, we will not have anything better than Christianity. I know this for sure. Do you though?
What?
Andrew, are you saying that before Christianity came, there was no ethics?
I'm asking you a question.
I'm
You said you were going to answer it, bro.
saying if Christianity died out tomorrow, we'd just go back to what we did. I say for 48,000 years before.
No, sir. You fucking idiot. Because we already have Christianity. We already have it. So if it disappeared, Thanos snapped out of existence, would you forget? Would you forget what it was? Of course not. I don't understand why the mental gymnastics need to be so fucking Simone Biles. She couldn't do flips like this shit. God damn it.
We just go back to what we did. I say for 48,000 years before Christianity showed up.
Please repeat my question.
This is why I have so much fucking work to do. This is why I have so much fucking work to do. Because this is the level of discourse. This is the level of discourse we have. I feel bad. I feel bad for those of you who think that you have the end-all be-all idea. That you're holding yourself back from at least the possibility of something better, something closer to the God that you care so much about. Nah, I'm good. Context said, by the fruits of their labor will they be judged. It took Christians hundreds or thousands of years to gain the goodwill of the world. It takes time and people like me. I'm telling you guys, people will know my name. My funeral will be on TV. I'm just letting you know. What happened to my fucking button?
Again, you cut me off. We can either
Please repeat my question. You're not answering my question. My question was, if
you
Christian
shut
ethics
up, I would answer
disappeared, then answer it.
let me.
You're cool. Yeah,
If Christianity disappeared tomorrow, we could simply go back to the beautiful, powerful, high ethics that we had before Christianity ever existed.
What were they?
What do you mean, what were they?
Well,
Haven't
so
you ever
here,
done this studying?
yes, I have. This is what I'm saying. So the ethical framework Jeff would use for all of Western society to replace Christian ethics would be the ethical framework of blank what? Of
It
what?
would be the ethical framework. I call it loosely.
It's Jeff's responsibility here to call out the false dichotomy. It doesn't need to be Christianity or other. Or, I mean, it's okay. It's not a false dichotomy. It's just I don't know what the fallacy is called, but you're creating an option where it has to be either Christianity or something that already exists. And that's just not what it is. Just the same way everybody was Jewish or pagan, and then eventually it took time and they followed this new thing. But for some reason, you believe that no new thing could ever be. For what reason? For what reason? And not only do you believe that, but you won't even try. Not you, Guamsek. I'm just speaking generally. But people, those of you who won't, you won't even try. You're willing to be scared enough of reality to just say, oh, I guess this is good enough. This is good enough. Maybe for you.
Ethical framework of the deist.
What?
And like the
deist?
Bible.
That's
Again,
Well, Andrew, I'm not even trying to take Jeff's side, but I think we could all agree that society would have some sort of ethical norms that people would agree to, right? I mean,
yeah, but we're talking about the
like we did
superiority.
you shouldn't steal, you shouldn't murder.
Let me get you to understand the track.
There you go. So Alex Stein, the moderator here, figures it out. We don't need a God in order to tell people not to steal. You know why? Because people like their property. And people have theory of mind. Google it. It's the idea of understanding that other people operate probably the same way you do. And so if you don't like getting punched, if you don't like getting raped, if you don't like getting stolen from, then it stands to reason that you wouldn't want to do that to other people because that's not good. Now, of course, we have, with or without religion, people who are going to commit crimes. And again, we will go back to the split of religious versus non-believer in prison. So that's a non sequitur. The point is, as Alex just said, regardless of what story we have, we understand these values. And especially now that we have the pagans and we started to get evolved in Judaism and Christianity and Islam, and we can do all, and we can take other ones as well. It's very frustrating to see how small-minded so many people are. As hard as it was, now convos like the one we had with the other militant atheists need to be had more. You'll pull more cultural Christians to your side than they will, and that's what's needed. Yeah, I'm realizing that I think instead of trying to debate Christians on, is Christianity true? That doesn't really matter to me. That's not the biggest thing. The question is, are you certain that we cannot do better than Christianity? And so then if I go to an atheist and I'm arguing that values that show up in Christianity are actually superior to whatever leftist bullshit you have, then we can talk empirically about human flourishing, about happiness, about the money people are making, whatever aspect we want to use. Then it becomes science, not the science, science.
Just like we did,
You shouldn't steal, you shouldn't murder.
Let me get you to understand the track here. So the idea here is Jeff's upset. He says we can't work with Christians; they'll shoot us in the back. I agree with Jeff. We will, right? In a second, right? But my counterclaim is because we have different normative ethical frameworks. The reason we do is because Christian ethics, I believe, we can make a case as superior to all other ethical systems on planet Earth right now. All of them.
Right now. What about tomorrow, Andrew? What about tomorrow? That's my only. If you take only one thing from this stream, from this channel, from whatever. Understand that history is not over. Whatever you think you know is only based on what we're talking 10,000 years of human history. There not only has been a lot more of that history, but we're not done yet. Shout out to Matthew King coming in the last minute. Said the idea of God is good for society, though. The notion that someone knows what you're doing when nobody else is watching. I disagree. I think that takes responsibility off of humans, because then you can, especially when you have the idea of penance and forgiveness. Well, God's watching, but this, that. So I don't think that works. What I think is better is for people to have their own internal, intrinsic reason, like I was talking about before, altruistic narcissism. Altruistic narcissism. I don't want to get stolen from, so I don't want to steal, because then we'll be in a society where people steal. You can get to altruism from narcissism. Am I saying that should be the structure? No. I'm saying that's on an individual level while we are building the structure that's like, here's the rules. I absolutely believe, I absolutely agree with you that that something there, having something to follow is good. But take this to the notion of a child. You think it's better for a child to think that they're perpetually being watched and that's why they shouldn't do bad things, or that they shouldn't do bad things because they're bad things? If we still had, agreed, but okay. But we don't. And we don't, if we had close-knit communities, then religion would also work. But we don't. None of it works. None of it works. That's the fallacy. Society is in the shitter. Like, individuals' lives are way better than they used to, but the bedrock of our culture has been eroded, and that is so closely connected to the fact that people are realizing that the notion of believing in God doesn't make sense. And once you get there, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter, because it's not a matter. You can't force people. Yeah. You can't force people to believe, and you can't force people to do good things. So you have to give them the incentive, and the incentive has to be intrinsic. Otherwise, there will always be a loophole. And I'm not looking for perfection. I understand there's always going to be people in society who want to do this, that, and whatever, want to get over on other people and take shortcuts. That's always going to be part of society. Or, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. But we don't know until we sit down with each other and discuss what can be done. That's it. That's the conversation. When we have that conversation, and then we look at all these things, you know what? Christianity is, in fact, we tried this, and the underlying thing is that we're just too, the idea of Christianity, or the idea of God, or the idea of whatever it is, prevents us from moving on. Okay, fine. Tried and failed. I am perfectly fine with being a failure. Let me say that again. I am perfectly fine with being a fucking failure. What I am not okay with is not trying. So again, I will be here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and the after party. I will be here. I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to make America great again. The world better than it will ever be under the Islamists and Sharia law. If you're with that, the link to the Discord, the free Discord, is pinned at the top of the chat. Come on and join us. That's where it's really going down. This is all fun and stuff, but going over into that community where we can actually really talk. That's what this is really about, guys. So if you agree, come on and talk to me. If you disagree, come on and talk to me. I would love to hear from you. So come on over, guys. I really, really, really do appreciate you hanging out with me. I know it's a slow time of year. There's not that much going on, but we are still raging. I will be here. I will be here. So let's fucking do this thing. Once again, guys, that is Marty, and I have been your host, Lunch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, or the after party, we are out of here. Peace.